Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the CantinaMX Podcast, a live show that discusses mainly Mexican soccer, but we jump into the other topics as well. It's a barroom conversation that we'd like to have here on the CantinaMX Podcast. My name is John Jagu. Glad to have you with us. Apologize for not being with you all last week. We had some family emergencies and other little items here and there that were caused us to be unable to produce a podcast last week, and it was probably a good thing because I'm sure that if we would have asked our good friend Mr. Tuca Ferretti any questions, he would not have responded.
Y usted no me va a decir qué carajo tengo que hacer.
Exactly. So it's probably a good thing we weren't on last week, but it's a good thing we're on this week. And we've decided to move our horario. We are now like America does every 2 years. We decided to cambiar de horario once again. We're going to be on Thursdays now. We figured that Thursdays would be a better day for us to be on, since a lot of times there's games on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and so it's hard to do the Taco Tuesday, and Wednesday was our first day, but there was always running into conflicts with other games and this and that. But Thursday seems to be a great day for us. A lot of folks are more able to join us on Thursdays, and as evidenced by the full house we have tonight. So let's get right to it. First of all, let's go ahead and introduce our folks over in Kyle, Texas, which is about 45 minutes from here. I'm in Lakeway on the other side of Austin. We have with us, joining us, our technical director, our social media manager, and fellow Pumas fan, at least for now, until another Cat team gets going. Of course, I'm talking about Albert at Chiquiscampa. Albert, how are you?
Hey, what's up, brother? Yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm bummed with the Pumas. I'm hating on Tigres, and Jaguares is just left to the side for now.
Yeah, your crazy cat lady teams are. Well, I guess Tigres. Well, no one's really had a stellar season. One actually might end up being relegated, which I think is probably, if it doesn't happen this year, it may happen next year because they're going to be in the same fight. But we'll get into that a little later. Good to have you on with, as always, Albert. And Albert, do you have numbers for folks to dial?
Yeah, I'll have it set up here in a few minutes.
Thank you very much. Now, we are live on YouTube, and we will be live every Thursday night. And I don't know if y'all noticed, but we actually started at 9:30. We're trying to, we be a little more professional about how we do things here at the CantinaMX Podcast. We want to have a set day, set time, 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific. And probably for the next couple hours, we will discuss soccer in general and other popular culture topics that might pop up here and there. As is the case today. Today is May the 4th, so May the 4th be with you. I know that we do have a lot of Star Wars fans that are listening to us, and of course listening to this recorded version on our podcast, but none bigger than a gentleman who lives in South Los Angeles. A gentleman who occasionally wants us to call him Lando. Of course, I'm talking about Joel Aceves. Joel, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, John. Although I'm a bit worried about my Chivas.
You're worried about your Chivas?
I'm losing faith.
Are you losing faith because of is it the injuries, Joel, that is, or is it the coaching?
No, it's just not being able to win at home, which has been going on for a while now, not just recently. I feel they haven't been able to establish a good home field advantage. But even if you remember, I don't know if it was a season or two ago where they had like an insane amount of penalty kicks going their way, and they would still miss him or not, or they'll play with a man advantage and still not win.
So it's and added to the fact that there's 8 starters that are now injured, or it could be upwards of 10 or 12 at this point.
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating, but there's a lot of guys that are out. So they're being cobbled together right now.
Yeah, the timing is wrong, for all of this.
It's very true, and it's something that I think that any LigaMX fan who's been watching the league for a while can attest that if you've made the Liguilla but you're sputtering, you're going to have a hard time getting out of the first week.
Yeah, it's not making me in the Chiva forums I frequent is not making me
and you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to happen, Hoy. You know what's going to happen in the first round, right?
It could be another elimination, third time.
No, but you know who they're going to play, right?
Could very well be, yes.
You know it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. Well, anyway. Well, I'm sorry to hear, Joel, that your self-loathing has turned into self-doubt with your Chivas. We will discuss that a little later. We do have to introduce the rest of the panel. Just a little south of you, Joel, we have in Escondido a gentleman who has watched his team lose only once this entire season in LigaMX. Of course, we're talking about Santos Laguna. They have 5 wins, or maybe it's 6 wins, with 10 draws and 1 loss. So actually, it's 5, 11, and 1. 5 wins, 11 draws, and 1 loss.
Yeah.
That is how Santos is done.
Not bad.
Yeah, but and of course, that 1 loss was to, the mighty Pumas.
At Seul?
Exactly, over in Seul. But Dan, if I were a Santos fan, I would have like a.
I'm feeling pretty good about our chances right now.
Yeah, exactly. Just a kind of a quiet confidence, like you're lying in the weeds.
Oh yeah, we're quietly on the higher end of the table. Quietly, I know there's 2 ways to look at it. You can look at it and say all those leads they've squandered, but I look at it from the standpoint of they don't know how to lose, even when they go away for the most part. So if they could eke out ties away and win like they've mostly done at home, I'll take that. I'll take that for another star.
Wow. Dan, throwing the gauntlet down early tonight on the CantinaMX podcast.
I'm just saying it's a very much a possibility, especially when you consider that Monterrey seems to be sputtering at the wrong time.
I'm not gonna lie, Dan. It sounds like you have a little bit of confidence going right now.
Quiet
confidence. I like it.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's not to be positive about? I mean, they're sure you could, like I said, you can stress the fact that they've squandered a lot of leads and pissed away wins, but the league is to get into the playoffs in a pretty decent rhythm, and they seem to be one of the teams that are approaching the league in better form than the others.
And then the reality is that they are 1 guy away from, if any of their offensive players get hot, they're going to be really hard to beat.
I'm with you. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. No one's really mentioned us, so I'm fine with that.
Well, we will tap into your quiet confidence a little bit later on the show. Joining us out in Phoenix, Arizona. Now he's feeling a little under the weather, but I know that he wanted Mohamed out, but he's cheering for his pandilla left and right, en las buenas y en las buenas y en las malas. And he right now is joining us in las buenas y en las malas. Of course, I'm talking about Fernando Regino. How are you, sir?
I'm doing okay, man.
Can we just call you Fernando Regio and just be done with it?
Wow. Just all you gotta do is subtract the N. Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. Well, we're sorry you're a little under the weather, and feel free to jump in when you can. Now, Dan just said that your pandilla is struggling. They're not playing particularly well. They're already in the liguilla, but no one seems to want to get going. If Monterrey does not win the title, is it time for Mohamed to go?
You know what? I gotta say that he did surprise me towards the middle and the latter half of the tournament. So I'm gonna eat my words and I'm gonna say that I was wrong. Nah, I think they should give him more time.
Wait. Say that one more time.
Sorry, you guys can hear me? Or?
No, yeah, please, go ahead and say what you said.
I said I'm going to eat my words, and I am going to admit that I was wrong about.
Wow, that is big news. I almost feel like I should have like a breaking news.
Breaking news, Fernando ate his words. I do that all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I don't have breaking words. I do have foco rojos. Let's see. But that really doesn't apply though. So, that's Fernando. There's nothing wrong with being against a coach or whatever it is, and then if the team does well, they'll welcome you back. They know that you were in a bad mood when you were making all those those nasty comments before. They know that you were doing it out of love. They
Yeah,
understand.
it was a 10 of the month type of deal.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but if you insist, well, you should be happy and thankful that you have that the team that you're pulling for is in and has been for the past, I don't know, 10 years. Just one of the more solid, consistent teams. So it's something that you should be proud of with your
Absolutely, yeah.
Rayadas. Well, good to have you on, Fernando. Thank you very much. And of course, last but not least, the gentleman who needs no introduction but gets one anyway. Of course, we're talking about Ronnie de Luna. Ronnie, we weren't expecting this to happen, but if America loses to a team that loves beating America in the Azteca, it could be curtains for.
At this point, it's not even about Pachuca.
What's it about?
It's-
What's it about, Ronnie? So he's so mad. He's so mad. He already broke his internet.
No, it's just last season. They broke the story of Munoz. In the fight of for the title, and you could tell that they didn't include Pelais Romano, who broke the news, and Pelais was a little upset about that. And then from what the interview that Pelais gave earlier in the week, that John de Luisa and Romano, they basically told him, it's like, hey, you don't need to be going to the things anymore. And it's like, well, if I don't need to go, what am I doing here? I saw the writing that was on the wall. And I mean, if there's one thing that's been consistent, you changed managers, you can change rosters. What was working was Pelais. And
Doesn't it upset you, Ronnie? I mean, I'm just saying, just as an America fan, but just as any, fan of any team or country or club, whatever it is, when they make these just insane decisions based on basically a pissing contest.
It is. I mean, this goes back to for many years, people didn't know what happened until Beckenbauer told Blanco on his show the reason that he was fired back in the 94-95 season was that the president, no, it wasn't even the president, it was one of the Diaz Barroso. I think what Diaz Barroso. He basically he was negotiating a contract with Joaquin del Olmo. They weren't coming to an agreement. So the executive, goes to Beckenbauer. It's like, well, look, we haven't resolved the issue. The contract with him. I don't want you to play him. How it works, you don't mess with my roster. The guys, was just very capricious, and one of those little, mi Reyes that all he had to have his way. And Beckenbauer,
like
Beckenbauer,
like
Fernando,
I'm sorry, like Fernando, just very, very thin-skinned.
He said Leo Benacer, he sent him packing. Didn't give a shit about how good the team was playing. Going to be my way or the highway, and that sort of that sort of
Yeah, how'd that work out for America?
Oh fuck no! In fact, Saga even fucking said afterwards that after they fired Benacer, they didn't even want to play anymore. Wanted to go on vacation. So I mean, they lost to Cruz Azul, I think, in the quarterfinals.
So that's how bad it got. That they were playing so poorly, they lost to Cruz Azul.
No. They actually were playing really bad. They're one of in history. They're one of the best teams in all of LigaMX history. That year, that season, America.
Oh, this was the season when they had Galusha and B. Yeah, they were unbelievable. Wow. So Benacer leaves.
He doesn't leave. He gets fired. He gets fired. Yeah.
So do you feel that's what's kind of happening right now? It obviously was a power struggle. Pelais is like, man, I'm going to play these games. I'm going to go somewhere else where they let me build a team like the way I was doing.
I don't think it was about this time. I don't think it was about a roster. I just think it was about egos. Because honestly, why are you going to divulge that information? I kind of knew that something was off. last season when whole Munoz thing came about, and I started to notice things like, from the roster that came in with Piojo, and I'm not saying that you still have to keep,
Now, Ronnie, are
Massa.
you saying it's an anomaly when your VP in charge of player personnel doesn't know about a player personnel move that's happening?
It's you tend to question what's going on. You really think that you're kind of hoping for someone to fail because they having too much success or getting too powerful.
Right.
And it's a shame.
Yeah, how awful that too much success in certain cultures is a liability.
Well, you know what? In Mexico, unfortunately, there's people that just despise other people's success. They do. They belittle their success. They'll do anything to basically just bring them down. Unfortunately,
That sounds familiar.
it is. It's a fucking honest to God's truth.
Man, it's
cannot-
what we do to you every week on the CantinaMX Podcast.
The other person, succeed. You have to bring them down.
Well, so he's been going to be brought down a peg. Your gut, and I'll ask everybody this question.
In a way, I kind of want America to get knocked out of the play. Not even qualify.
So that's interesting.
It is. It would be to me. For Peláez, it would be bittersweet that the first season that he's gone, or not even the season he's gone, the team doesn't make the playoffs.
Well, I mean,
to me,
that I get worried about as an America fan is that every time that the guys that are more Televisa than America get involved in the team. Not always, but I mean, it's the results are mixed to say the least.
No, you're absolutely right, John. For example, Cañedo, he wasn't Televisa. He sold tires, Michelin or whatever. And he was
I should have left.
Well, see, I heard he was one of those guys, Ronnie, that they brought him off. Those guys that eat fire on the streets in Mexico City. That they put gas in their mouth and have the big thing and just blow it out.
So I mean, like for example, the two, Cañedo, who was a very successful back in the 70s, he was he wasn't brought up with Televisa. I mean, he was a business guy, and he didn't come in through, he didn't come up through the ranks of Televisa, and and it's funny, same thing happened to Peláez. He got a little too powerful and didn't like that. So
your gut feeling, I mean, he's going somewhere else. Where do you think he ends up?
I think he's going to take it. I don't see. I mean, after America presidency, the natural step up would be to be either LigaMX president or national team, and I don't see that in the cards because obviously he must have. I wouldn't say burnt the bridge. Relationship that he has with Azcárraga isn't what he used to be. So I don't see that for him. I think that the natural him is to go into coaching and maybe do it abroad.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he did say that he wanted to start taking some trips.
I think that's kind of your roundabout way saying that you don't want him anywhere near another LigaMX team.
You know what? I don't really see. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head. I can't think of a case where one club president goes to another club. Yes. I mean, what's his name? Debrica didn't do it. Borja didn't do it.
Joel, where's Peláez going to end up?
I think the doors are still open for Televisa. He could go to maybe Necaxa, but I don't think he will go to any rival team, which I would take him in a heartbeat.
So you would absolutely. In fact, if you heard the news that Peláez had signed on with, it would excite you very much.
Yeah, keep in mind he even played. He even
Hey.
played. He's wore the Chivas shirt before.
But here's another thing, John. Here's another thing with Pelais. You had icons in the Reynoso and other players that that did well with the club, wanting Pelais gone, and I think that has to do with and this is what really bothers me, that sometimes these players, they tend to think that the club owes them something after their playing career is over, and I don't agree with that.
No, I mean they'll have their little homenajes, but I mean they certainly unless if you're being paid as in an advisory role, then I mean your opinion really shouldn't matter one way or the other.
No,
But if they're paying you to give your opinion, then yeah, I totally wouldn't understand that.
no, I mean because Blanco looked like and you guys know that I respect Montejo Blanco, but when you have a president, what 10
You're not crying, are you, Ronnie? Are we upset?
No.
You sure?
No, I'm getting sick. That's what I'm
No,
getting.
we don't have to drop the sad music for you. You tell us your sad life story
you
stuff.
sound like Cuauhtémoc Blanco. It's like Carlos Hermosillo did with Cruz Azul. Dude, at one point, you just sound like a bitter old piece of shit.
Yeah, it was so bitter that they blocked him on Twitter.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, it's just like, dude, you'll have your time, dude. It's like, just chill, let the guy work. And I think, one of the few times I ever agree with, I think it was Faitelson that said that, with Pelais, were good. They were winning titles when times were bad. They were fighting for the title.
They were clearly the one of the top 3 teams in the league as long as he was there. Because I don't think they did any worse in the semifinals. And the entire time,
one quarterfinal.
Okay, I mean that's still impressive as hell.
Yeah.
And and 4 trophies to boot. So it's not like they weren't winning anything.
No, and what, they lost the final to León. They lost the final to Tigres. So I don't know. It's just part of me wants them to fail, just so hoping that fucking Romano gets gets the boot as well. I hope the fans turn on Romano, which I know that he's a Televisa.
Well, how much of it do you think has to do with the fact that that Tigres has become the not the glamour team, but the glamour squad, if that makes sense, where for decades that was the I mean I'm not asking you personally, but do you think that there's something to do that there's some folks over at the mothership that have that we should be the ones that have that kind of we were winning, but we were winning with a bunch of scrub, a bunch of guys that just made sense.
Dude, we beat Tigres in the final. We beat Tigres in the Conca Champions. Keep in mind, we had them up against the ropes we lost in the last seconds of the game.
I'm not asking. That's what I'm not asking you. I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm asking. Do you think that is one of the reasons why they thought that they wanted to, because they want to recapture some of that, part of their quote unquote reputation of who they are.
Winning. That's who they are. And he was doing it. I think it was just a power play. Someone's getting a little bit more respect than you. Someone's getting, and for someone's, Pelais was probably hurting people's egos.
So you want Chucky Lozano to get a hat trick and knock them out.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this to Joel. I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, what? Maybe I should just start rooting for another team. Politécnico in the 3rd division.
You should pick like Petroleros de Salamanca or something, and
no, because at least I have ties to that team. El Poli.
When I used to play the FIFA like on Xbox and stuff, that was the only.
Speaking of which,
yeah,
Poli. I don't know if you guys know this, but the guy that created the Pumas logo, also, I don't think he's come out. I don't think they've unveiled it, but he also creating the Politécnico logo. Basically sued Pumas because he wants money for because he hadn't been paid in 50 years or whenever they created, or 60 years, whatever. He created that the logo for Pumas, which is a sweet logo, by the way.
That's weak sauce. You're taking your ball and going home, man. Taking your ball and going home. That's weak. Giving up.
Dude, it's that running a club like that. It's a shit show, dude. You know that.
Oye, ¿por qué no le vas a las a una y haces cambias águilas and go for Mighty Eagles?
You don't run a club like that just on fucking on an ego.
But I should have got out whenever they dumped all their good players. He should have got out because they just left the team with nobody. And La Volpe was there, and he made something out of nothing. He brought a 16-year-old in, and he did something with the real squad.
That's actually one of the only reasons I think, and I understand, Ronnie, your anger. I mean, let's face it, you're angry. I mean, it's but I cannot believe. I can't believe.
Did you ever watch the?
But I actually want America to do well because of what Chiqui said. Is that the coaching job he's done this season is probably the best one he's done his entire career.
Well, yeah, in a while, but. Did you ever watch that SNL clip with Chris Farley where he's like, I think he's taking like coffee crystals, like he goes berserk?
Yes.
And it's like, how do you feel? Angry. You remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay. Anyhow, yeah, that's me.
So, Chiquis, where does Peláez end up?
I have no idea.
Come on, Chiquis, you got to get a better answer than that.
Well, that's sort of interesting. I never thought of what Ronnie said about him going coaching and then overseas. That would be sort of interesting to see, but that was sort of I was surprised to hear him say that.
So you have no.
I haven't even thought about it. I'm too. My thoughts are in with La Volpe and worried about him getting fired, which a lot of people think he should, but he's done a good job and. But I'm sort of like with Ron. I hope Chucky scores a hat trick, and shows like the upper management that they don't know what they're doing. They got rid of Moises Munoz ever since the beginning of this season. I've hated what they've been doing with the team, and I thought it was Peláez's fault. But then Joel came with the too many Chiefs and all that. So whoever's running things is messing things up. So they're deserved. And I sort of goes into how Tigres is. Tigres has been failing, and I'm sort of like, even though they're a gato, I'm sort of like waiting for the lulls for them to fail and not make it to Liguilla. That'll be 2 failures. Right?
Some context on what Chiquis just said is from the mailing list. So me and Chiquis do a Cantina mailing list, and we had a little piece on some of what's going on at America. So you had Pepe Romano, who's another president, within. Peláez was a sporting president, and Pepe Romano was president of operations. So he's in charge of he's in charge of the transfers.
Yeah, because even Peláez said that he didn't know the player salaries or any of that.
Yeah, so. I think that's something what they started to I guess disagree on the direction of the team, and I see it happening around the time of the Centenario, where they, I guess one side wanted to bring in like a name player or appeal more to the fans, and I think Peláez was being more conservative, like this is what's working, we're just gonna stick with this. He had even.
And here's my thing. And here's my thing. I don't even think that the operation, I think that because he would take care of the sporting and Romano, quote unquote, would take care of the operations. Personally, I think that's just a bullshit position to keep to keep one of your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just beyond stupid.
Yeah, and when they brought in Nacho. And Peláez was like backing him 100%, and even said if that he will leave if Nacho fails. And so what I had heard around that time when they replaced him was that they asked Peláez to remain longer. But I think at that point he wasn't making all of the decisions. So I think that's what ultimately led him away. Where he's like, I guess they were still consulting him, but I think he wanted full control. And I do feel like reading a lot of stuff, I do feel like a lot of Americanistas were putting all the blame on Pelaez, and it's like,
you know, and here's I mean, just listen to this logic though. If Pelaez was a Sporting and Pepe Romano was the operations, then all this shit that America caught for the goddamn Centenario and celebrations and stuff like that shouldn't have been on Sporting. So Romano should have caught the shit, you know, should have caught the crap for that, not Pelaez, because his Pelaez, you know, quote unquote, is supposed to be just the field, which they were doing well.
yeah, and especially with the transfers, because they lagged it with the transfers that came in late.
Yeah. So I mean, from you know, just on the
But
duties of the operations in the Sporting.
And I heard he's leaving too. I heard that so Romano is going to be out the door too after the season, because I think, you know,
They want to bring in bathrooms.
they're bringing in Santiago bathrooms,
Jimmy toilets.
and hopefully he could lure in his good friend Piojo, and then I think
Instead of calling him Santiago bathrooms, can we call him Jimmy bath salts?
but I think a good move that they're making, well, I don't know how good it is because I don't know much about the current guy, but they're getting rid of the youth, the guy in charge of youth development, and they're bringing in one of the Tenas.
Which one?
Who had,
Well,
he had worked with them. He had worked with them before with the Canteras, and
Capitan
he
Furia.
did a good job.
Capitan. He was Capitan.
Yeah, he's coming back. So
Speaking of Capitan Furia, I want to get into.
He's got an
conspiracy
amazing
theories
haircut, dude. He's
No,
got
he
an
does.
amazing haircut.
You know what would be awesome to see, Ronnie, is Nacho Ambriza's haircut and Capitan Furia's haircut have a, you know, like a major, like Rams going at it to see who wins.
Yeah.
Because both those guys could, you know, that's like, you know, it comes to a point, it's like razor sharp. It's a hell of a good haircut.
But you know what, guys? I find that just kind of bit. They're already talking about the new coach and all that, and the season's still in full swing, and La Volpe could win it. So it's like it could be counterproductive.
I mean,
See, it could be the ultimate. It could be the ultimate America FU to the entire league for the fans. It's like seriously. I mean, it could if they end up winning the whole thing and going, man, they trashed our GM, they're trashing our coach, they're trashing our players, and you guys still aren't good enough to beat us.
You know what? I mean, don't get me wrong. Just if anything, it's just for, you know, John De Luis and Pepe Rorano. It's just a big FU. But I mean, I do. I mean, for the kid Diego Lenaez.
You know, Ronnie, maybe as a protest,
yeah.
In the first minute of the game, you should not scream at the TV when you watch like your normal. Just for a minute, as a silent protest of what's going on, and then just watch the you know, the team that's wearing the uniform, and that's all. You just, you know.
I need to ask Ron why John De Luisa, who's vice president of Televisa Deportes, why was he in charge of sacking Pelaez? Because Pelaez wanted to stay until the end of the season. And John De Luisa said, if you don't want to be here,
oh, I'll tell you why.
Just leave.
Because he's like, why are you saying this stuff on other channels? You know, that's what our channel.
That was it. Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's why they said, oh, you're gonna talk like that on the other channels? Adios.
You think that's Higuera's end game? If you're gonna quit, do it through Chivas TV.
Oof.
One day, you know.
Oof.
Which they plan to keep, you know. I don't know who's gonna be dumb enough to buy it.
Yeah, it's wow. All right, so one thing that I noticed about Liga MX last week was out of the 8 teams that were, you know, quote right now in the playoff zone, did all 8 lose last week? I know 6 of them did. I don't know if the 7th, I guess Santos didn't lose. But and Tigres didn't because they moved up. So every one of the top 6 lost. The top 6 teams lost. So nobody's playing well going into the Liga. So somebody, Dan thinks it's his Santos. Dan, you need to tell me like some song or something that, you know, maybe I should get, or like a famous Borghetti quote that I can play every time Every time I mention Santos, you have to help me out with that. Get some good Santos drops.
There's a lot of ties actually. Chivas tied, Pachuca tied,
But nobody won.
Tijuana lost, Santos tied, and Monterrey lost. Monterrey.
Ouch.
My bad.
Did you have latency issues there, Chiquis?
Yeah, that's my niveles of internet was failing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Did you accidentally have to use Chivas TV for 10 seconds?
Yeah, 56K. 56K was in effect.
Now, before we do go on though, before we switch gears here, I do want to mention that we have a number y'all can call for the folks that are listening to us live. Please feel free to call 724-707-3826, and our PIN is 13118, and we will happily discuss anything you'd like to talk to us about here at the CantinaMX Podcast. So please feel free to drop us a line. Chivas, they didn't lose, but they tied at home to León. They lost another player. Another one went down. They're down. I think they're having to start to pull from the U13 team because it's gotten so rough for the roster there at Chivas. So Joel, you said you are nervous. You are nervous. You don't like what you're seeing in the tea leaves.
I don't like what I'm seeing at home. Because the team has been fairly consistent, and just playing the cup games and then the league games. I understand that could wear you down, but I still think at home you have to be dominant, and I think that's something they just haven't been able to do it. Not just this season, even past seasons they haven't been able to do good. And this goes back to when my boy Chepo was the coach. They lost to Santos. They lost 3-1 or something during the playoffs. So it's not new. So I would say by now the team should be a bit stronger, but that just hasn't been the case.
Why do you think that is? What do you attribute? Is it could it be the fact that they only play in front of 4,000 people every week?
I think part of it is the style. Almeida's playing style. He likes to attack a lot, so teams could just come. They already know what to expect, so they'll just come in and bunker. Let Chivas, do the desgaste.
You know what's so unfortunate about that is that when he plays the counterattack game, they are unbelievably good. So it seems like he needs to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, but the game against Morelia was when they went all the way to penalty kicks. The game against León, it was 1-1, but their goal was off a penalty kick. And they even struggled against Juarez, which was 3-2 with a last-minute goal. And the game before that, at the cup game, it was also another penalty kick shootout. And all these at home.
Yeah, let me give some stats, though. Copa MX might be different, but in the league, Chivas actually has a winning record at home. They've won 5. They only lost 1 to Tijuana, and then they tied to Santos, and then this one to León. The rest they've won. So they've actually been doing good at home for Liga MX. I think for the Copa MX might have been a little bit different. And a lot of their wins, even throughout Liga MX, have been sort of like a one goal win, or they've played really good, but they never got a goal out of it. And
but see, you have to be more. You need to get more than a one goal advantage in
the lamest attempt of a Chiva contra Chiva I've ever heard. we need coach. Where is the coach? Why haven't we heard from the coach lately? What's going on with him?
He's coaching.
Is that what's going on? We need to get the coach back on because we need some good entertaining Chiva contra Chiva. But anyway, now it sounds to me, Chiquis, that you are disagree with Joel's position. You think that Chivas is going to be just fine?
Well, I'll agree that if you look on the surface, if you look at every one of their games, and if you're not a fan of Chivas, like a fanboy of Chivas, you will see that, okay, Chivas has this huge they're almost like the Mexican version of Tigres, where they have Pulido, they have all these guys, and granted there's some injuries now, but they had all these guys during the whole league, and they weren't blowing people away. They were barely scraping away wins throughout the season, and even in Copa MX, they had to go to penalty kicks multiple times. They weren't acting like a huge dominant team like they were on paper. So looking at that, yes, but looking right here at the schedule and their results, I think they're like 5, 1 and 2 at home throughout the league.
The numbers don't lie.
You got to remember that Chivas already won Copa MX this year, so they already fulfilled their full potential this year. So anything else, it's a big win.
That's a mental midget attitude, because that potential is lacking. The league has to be their main goal. If they don't get the league,
there's no question that the league is the main goal. So we can move on from that pretty quickly. Well, Joel, I really don't know what to say. I think unfortunately for them, I think the injuries are playing a huge factor in this, because they've lost. I mean, how many guys is it? So they've lost Saldivar, they lost Pizarro, they lost Conejito. So that's 4 right there, and they just lost a defender. Didn't they just lose a defender in this last game?
I missed the last game, John.
Yeah, so they lost. I mean, so they have like 6 or 7 starters, or at least players that contributed significant minutes out right now.
You know what? I did see a picture where Juli is trying to hug Almeida, and Almeida's like doesn't want. He looks weirded out.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't know what's in Hulit's hair, man. You
don't want to get that so glow.
Almeida's very touchy about his hair, as we know.
He's gonna leave that soul glow. No, yeah, it's a lot of injuries. Yeah, the team picked the wrong time for that.
So they have been struggling to go in. Of course, when they played Tigres, they just got run out of the park. So there was, but of course Tigres has been doing that to a lot of teams. I think Joel. I think that this next, who do they have coming up? Is it? I know that they're on the road.
Necaxa.
Is it Necaxa?
Yeah, I mean, right now the main thing will be to get, to try to end as high as possible to have that home field advantage.
Well, what it sounds to me like that you don't want the home field advantage, though. You seem to avoid.
No, I do want it. I mean, I think it's important. I mean,
all right.
The good, and I think this goes even like with World Cup. When you're in the World Cup groups, you want to be seeded, and you want to have just being seeded improves your odds. So it's like when you get to Liguilla,
right?
Just starting at home,
Yeah, being seeded in the World Cup means you're not playing 7 of the other great teams of the world.
Yeah.
So that right there is a huge advantage. Now we touched earlier when we were introducing the folks on the show, and one of those is Monterrey, and Monterrey is a team that's kind of been hot and cold. They won their big clásico, the norteño against Tigres. They did it at Tamanera, but then they go on the road to Veracruz and pretty much lay an egg, and they get shown up by Arevalo Rios doing the Locos y Libres. Tigres Banda sign after scoring a goal for Veracruz in front of against Monterrey. So that had to have been, as a Monterrey fan, you had to felt very disrespected there by what Rios did. Fernando.
Yeah,
Fernando's not answering.
Oh, sorry, I just got back. I had to attend something.
Okay.
What did you say? No, I'm kidding.
No, I was just pointing out the fact that Tigres is not Tigres, that your Rayados are running a little hot and cold. So they just like Chivas, a win for them would solidify home field advantage and maybe give them just a weensy bit of momentum heading into the postseason.
Yeah, unfortunately, they lost last weekend or last game actually. So
And how about Joel? Your vision and your ability to peer through the wrinkles of time to be able to know that Veracruz was going to be saved.
You, you know what, John? They were my candidates, and then I lost faith too because um they started having problems extra cancha, and they lost the coach, who a lot of my faith was on that coach, which was Carlos Reynoso,
But guess who has come in and saved the day? My guy,
el bombero.
El Cabezón Luna.
Yeah, but you know the squad it's a lot of ex-Americanistas, so he had put together a team with some players that had worked together before. But so I mean, but I thought that after they let the coach go, and it seemed like things might not going to work out. And,
Yeah,
and
but
then
they got
threw.
two unbelievable wins. They got the win against Pumas, which hindsight isn't really all that impressive. And then they got the win against Monterrey. I mean, looking at their schedule, then because they had Tijuana, Monterrey, and Pumas, so the last 3 games, thinking, oh man, they're gonna, if they get 2 points out of that, it would be a miracle.
Yeah, no, I was on that. I was with you right there,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, and to get 6 points out of it out of 2 games, I mean, it's just totally unbelievable. And then the team that I think is going to drop, I think is going to be Jaguares. I think Morelia is going to stay because Morelia has they have so much more motivation to stay up because they won't have to deal with this, for at least 3 or 4 more years if they can stay. But I think that is more motivation than what Jaguares has, because even if Jaguares stays up, they're going to be in this mess this year or next year and the year after that. It's hard, man. I mean, you had to deal with that, Joel, 3 years of getting the calculator out when watching Chivas before Chepo righted the ship.
Yeah, well, he helped. He helped.
Yeah, but they
Tornado
were in
did his
free
part
fall
too.
at that point. They were in free fall at that point.
That one season, yeah, they would have gone
Yeah.
straight down.
Yeah.
But yeah, Atlas was there, and then Chivas and Cruz Azul might be heading there soon. And the funny thing is, they just ratified the coach. They said this project just started, and we're gonna continue.
Who's that? Gemes?
Yeah, and he's had 2 teams relegated before.
Well, I thought that the Yayo got the adios.
If
No?
I thought too. I thought those were the rumors out of that if Cruz Azul didn't do good, they were cleaning house.
I thought Yayo was going to get the zapatos cementeros.
Oh, but at this
The
point,
tossing.
it's like is Hurtado, playing a big role still? The promoter Carlos Hurtado, who
Right.
it's now no secret for a lot of people that follow LigaMX that Cruz Azul is one of his biggest clientes, and that he always puts in a lot of players, which yeah, that was who knows who brings the players there, and it's hard to build a team if you're not.
Well, not only that, but the players are constantly. It's a team that constantly brings in, 6 or 7 new guys every season, and high price guys at that.
And to me, I think that they've kind of been like Chivas, where I feel a lot of the problem has been they just gotten the wrong coaches. And I was looking at some of the coaches recently because we're talking about a team that went from Cruz Azulada used to be that they would lose a final.
Right.
That was a Cruz Azulada.
Now they're losing to Puebla, and it's a Cruz Azuleada.
Yeah, and that's a Cruz Azulada for just not qualifying or just losing a regular season game.
¿Y la Cruz Azuleó?
So they backtracked, and some of it has to do, the way I was just looking at it was because they've had some coaches where they just messed up, Thomas Boy and some of those I forgot.
And then they have coaches that do reasonably well, but they fire them too. Like I remember Marcarian was pretty decent for them, and I thought he was a great coach.
No, yeah, Marcarian brought in a lot of players from the youth squad. Yeah, no, I don't think I don't think James is the right guy for them. I mean, even if he does have a good season, that's not good enough for Cruz Azul. You know, Cruz Azul is a team that needs a championship. So you need a coach that knows, you know, that has the rings. You know that he's the players are gonna believe in him because he's been there before. And I
Yeah.
see Buse sitting on the sidelines. He would be my first guy. You know.
Now, do you think that Vuse can handle it? Because Vuse is always, he's done well, but he's every time he goes to like a bigger club, hasn't been as successful as when he goes to I'll just say the
I mean,
clubs that have less people at the press conference.
no, that's true, but I think that's because if you let him work, if you give him free reins, and if you're at that point where you just need to step back, which you could say America kind of did it when they brought in Pelaez. They're like,
Right.
we're gonna let you do your thing, and then once they saw that things were going, I was like, all right, get out of the way.
Yeah. This is going too well. We got to get rid of you.
No, it's like nah, this looks too easy. I think we could drive it now.
Yeah, exactly. You're winning too much. Just I do just as good with my fantasy team, so I'm going to come in and do it. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah, but so I think Buse, if given free reins, let him do his job, he could. I mean, he just left Querétaro after giving him their first trophy ever. First division trophy.
No, I do think that Buse
Copa.
would be an excellent choice for Cruz Azul, provided, like you said, that he does be afforded the luxury of time to put together a squad
No,
and make him play his way.
and you know what, John? Because seeing that de la Torre was there, I thought his first choice would have been Chepo. I really thought he would, call his cousin and say, hey, come on over. And now we see Chepo, he's qualified Santos, and
I think Chepo's happy where he is, and honestly, I think if Pelaez does go to another team, I think that he's going to go to a mid-level team that he can build on his own. So I think he's going to take his time to see, what team has the stronger youth teams. Let me just say that I did Dallas Cup a few weeks ago, and out of two of the U finals, they had 4 in one day. Out of 2 of those, the Querétaro teams made those finals.
oh,
Take that for what it's worth, but for a solid youth tournament like that, that's pretty impressive.
Well, you know what? There is if Baños does go to America, he might have to leave the national team.
Jimmy Betts.
That means Pelaez could return. So I wouldn't mind that either.
I would. I mean, I think no one in their right mind would not welcome Pelaez to coach the team of the team that they support. I mean, it's I know that there were some detractors of what Pelaez was doing in America, and as Ronnie said, the results speak for themselves. You may not like his style, but it is based on his results. His end game was what happened at the end of the season. At the end of the season, they were playing a lot of important games. Did they win all of them? No, but they're there. I mean, and that is you cannot get any better than that.
Yeah, that was the quote that Ron told us when we were having the chat, where he said, at their best, America was winning, and at their worst, they were losing championships.
Yeah, they were losing. It's like Germany. Germany, when they have good teams, they win the World Cup. When they have bad teams, they lose the final.
Yeah. So
I mean, seriously.
John, speaking of youth teams, the under-17 just qualified by beating host Panama, which might suck if you're from Panama, to lose to Mexico again.
Not only did they beat Panama 1-0, but they eliminated Panama from the World Cup.
But, and I was reading about the coach, which kind of made me sad here. It was sad flute time for me. But the under-17 coach, Mario Arteaga, here's what he said. He said, he said that before the qualifiers, the under 17 team played 57 international and national games. That's a good long proceso to play, to travel and play teams from all regions. And so you have these under 17 players, playing abroad and winning tournaments, and then they return to LigaMX and sit right away in the bench.
Yeah, and actually, I was thinking about that. Not just you're right. That is sad, and that they have done so well. And you know what? Like ask yourself, how is a player like Lainez, who's making an impact for the senior team, how is he not even considered for the U17 team? Was he ever part of the process?
I have no idea, John.
Or think about like a guy like Guardado. Guardado was 19 when La Volpe found him in playing for Atlas, and and Guardado wasn't part of those teams that made. He wasn't part of the 05 team that would have, that won the World Cup. So the whole youth thing to me is always, it's real iffy because you can you never know what's going to happen with the U17 guy. You just never know. Could he peak? Very few of them end up panning out. It's just, but the fact that they're not given the opportunity, I think, is very.
No, yeah, and even a lot of these guys should be playing like in second division, and even second division has the 10-9 rule or 9-9 rule or whatever it is, but so even those teams are filled with foreigners, and I think that just hurts us,
It does, and but the other thing that I think hurts also is the fact that why on earth does a U17 team need to play that much in the span of a year when a lot of that means that they're missing time away from their club team.
Yeah.
So I think about that kid for Santos. Why didn't we see him after the U20 World Cup play for Santos? He was on fire. They were having scoring problems. Hey, plug this guy and see what he can do. It was because like 2 weeks later he had to go on the start practicing for the U20 World Cup. It's like, man, let him. If he has a chance to play, let him play.
Yeah, that is true. I think we're just missing out right there on that part.
Yeah, I think that Mexico over prepares for tournaments like that. They don't have to train for as long as they do. Look at how well Mexico played in the 2014 World Cup, when they only, just like everywhere else in the world, only had 3 weeks to get ready.
Yeah, we had like a month,
and they did
an extra month.
Right, but in previous World Cups, that's what they used to do. They used to make when Chicharito was scoring goals left and right for Chivas, and then like in week 12, they said, okay, we got to go to Valle de Bravo for to go shoot commercials for 6 weeks.
That's asthma sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. That's ridiculous. They just don't need to do that. So, it would have been nice to have seen that Cisneros kid play, after just getting back from the U20 qualifying where he was on fire. I'm sure Chepo would have been, yeah, let's plug this guy and see what he has he's got the hot streak going. Maybe he can, but it never materialized. And then 2 weeks later, he's whisked away to go prep for the U20 World Cup, and then they're already in China. Tournament starts.
For the under 20, there's like 3 or 4 players that are not going to the World Cup. And I know Montes is one of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he didn't get the go ahead.
That's why Linus didn't go play for the U17 because he's playing with America.
Yeah, and Montes, man, impressive because he's 20, and to me, he could already be in the senior national team.
He should be starting this, not.
He should. I don't. That's one of my takeaways from Osorio. I do think this guy. Marquez was there since he was 18, 17, 18. But I think Montes starts regularly for. How many 20-year-olds in LigaMX?
Dude, he was starting when he was 18.
Yeah, and 6'4", man. He's already has that frame, to hang with the big boys. But he's not going to the under 20. and I don't think he's gonna miss much. You just
No,
can't.
I mean I understand for a player like that. Yeah, there's no point in him going.
But I do
because-
think the selection is missing out because he would be, he'll be a rock right
Yeah.
there in defense.
Well, they ended up not qualifying for the medal round in the Olympics, but it wasn't because of Montes and Salcedo. They were both really solid defensively. It was a good partnership, and I think for a lot of folks that should be the partnership moving forward as players start getting older. I did hear a rumor, Joel, that Chivas is looking at Hector Moreno next year.
No, they're also looking at Montes. There was a rumor a while back, and I don't know how much to buy into it. Supposedly Monterrey had said 9, but I don't know if I buy it. That's cheap considering Chivas is willing to open the coin purse and pay triple. So
Right.
I don't know. That was just maybe the agent trying to get a better deal for Montes at Monterrey. Which, speaking of deals, the news making the rounds now is that clubs want to do away with the Pacto de Caballeros.
How do they want to do away with it?
No, I just heard. I mean, right now I could just speculate, and I would say is probably the Grupo Pachuca that would want that, to get taken out, because I would say that it would hurt the Televisa teams more, since they got more of a monopoly on that.
I think it
That's
would.
my thoughts. Those are just my thoughts. I mean,
I mean, everybody has their own little power plays. For a while there, I used to think that like when they would do the draft, that Televisa, the only teams that traded with teams that were on Televisa, and the teams that were on TV Azteca were always traded amongst themselves. There was never any intermingling of TV money.
I think there is preferences. I mean, like Santos and America in recent times.
Right, and León and Chivas and Atlas and Tigres and I wish Pumas could generate some players that they could sell. It's been a while since Pumas has had a player of that caliber go on his merry way. I'm sad for Pumas. I know that things just didn't work. The team just ran out of gas. The killer for Pumas, the beginning of the end for them was when after the FIFA date and Nico Castillo came back hurt, and he hadn't played since. He played like 40 minutes of one game and got red carded, and that was the last we saw him.
He was a talisman.
Yeah, so unfortunate. So yeah, it was just and he had the leader de goleo at 8 goals. He's still the leader de goleo at 8 goals.
8 goals. You know what I heard?
And he hasn't played in over a month.
And he's still the leader. That definitely hurt Pumas. So what I heard was that Cruz Azul had the option between him and Cauterucho, and they ended up going for Cauterucho. I was thinking, he ended up being a dud,
That's why I'm scared.
Cartucho quemado. But you know what I'm gonna say? Part of that, because it looks impressive, 29 goals in three seasons in Argentina. But we have to keep in mind that Argentina went up to 30 teams. A lot of those teams are pretty weak. So,
right.
So you could be banging hat tricks against, some really soft sides right there.
They're saying that even you and I could score against some of those teams.
No, but no, it's not that weak. But
not that bad. Not that bad.
No, it's Argentina still. It's highly competitive, but
Chiquis, you want in on my Pumas pity party?
Well, I was going to follow up on Joel, what he was saying about Cauterucho. When you guys were talking about Vucetich on the Cruz Azul, I was like, no, man, don't do that to him. Because that play, I mean, about the Bruja going that one day, and they win. But then there wasn't any talk. That Bruja needs to go every single day, every single week. Because the week after,
she needs to be at the weekly team meeting.
They need the Ministry of Magic, John.
That's right.
So each goes,
Got a bunch of wizards all over the
Vucetich go there,
state.
you get messed up.
I would love for Vucetich to go to Cruz Azul and do well. Just like I really want Peláez to go to like a, and I'm just gonna, let's say he goes to like a Jaguares or a place like, Puebla, right? Maybe not Puebla just because of the but that has like financially stable and just says, you know what, I want to build a team from the ground up and have him do it and have him, have it be success. That's what I want Peláez to do. I want him to go to a team like in the vein of Santos, a team like that. Maybe like a Pumas would be very nice.
I like Necaxa. I think Aguascalientes deserves.
It wouldn't shock. I mean, obviously that's like the most obvious place for him to land, and it probably would happen. And it would be great. That's a cool little stadium too. We should do a CantinaMX remote once from Aguascalientes.
Because he will still be at home technically.
Of course.
And they could just bring him back once everything falls apart again.
Yes, so he can go to either Necaxa or Veracruz, but no one wants to go to Veracruz, so he'll go to Necaxa. But I think he's on the outs with Televisa, though. I think that it's going to be a couple of years before that even happens. That's why I do think that he. I thought that he might go to Cruz Azul, to be honest with you. And if I were Cruz Azul, I would definitely call his agent.
Yeah, no, well, they didn't fire, the GM or the coach. Cruz Azul is sticking to their guns, at least for, I would say, half a season more.
Right. And if I were Atlas, if they bomb out, which, honestly, no offense to El Profe Cruz. I think El Profe Cruz, he's wanted to beat my Pumas. I get it. But, do you really think you're going to have a solid future with a guy that you're picking off the Wheel of Fortune as your coach?
Oh man, you know what? Speaking of Atlas, in Guadalajara they did a commercial. They did a commercial about like just basically not, like don't throw trash and with the parking don't take up 2 spaces.
Uh-huh.
And they did it like in. Have you ever seen like the movie Amelie?
Yes.
Or Amelie, or I don't know how to pronounce it.
Amélie.
There you go. That movie, how she talks about sometimes like the daily routine.
Right.
So they did it in that style, like, and so they were profiling. I think his name was Juan, and they were saying Juan is an Atlas fan, and he has a dog, and every day he likes to do these things, and his birthday lands on this day, and on that day, that's the day when there's, when the rain falls, and because the rain falls, when he ever throws a party, people don't go to his house and stuff like that. It's kind of funny, but it triggered the Atlas fans because they kind of made him look like Nacos, because the dude that they used, kind of overweight dude, and then throwing trash and just looking like a Naco. So they complained, and this was a commercial from the I don't know, they call it Hacienda, this was from the government, from the Guadalajara government.
Atlas came out with a good Star Wars commercial today. Pretty cool.
Did they really?
Yeah, it was like with the credits, the beginning credits for Star Wars, and it said the última jornada de la LigaMX, and it said Atlas faces whoever, blah blah blah, with the theme music and all that.
That's something that I don't think I would ever say on this podcast. But let's talk some Atlas. What is going on with the Rojinegros? Tom Marshall wrote an article. Could this be, finally the year?
Oh snap! He wrote an article on that. On them,
yeah.
The possibility of winning.
Yeah.
I wonder how long he's been waiting to write that one.
We're talking about teams that are coming in hot. Honestly, the hottest team right now in the league is Atlas.
And their coach won it with Atlante.
Yeah.
Which is nowhere to be seen now.
No, they are. Yeah, they have.
So if if a coach can do it, that would be the one.
You remember when Atlanta even had Barcelona down 1-0? and they could have gone up 2, but somebody just like completely just had an awful episode. Like he just missed. He had like practically an open net and he missed it.
Yeah,
And
no,
they could have gone up 2-0 on Barcelona.
Atlanta's going the way of like Correcaminos and like Nezahualcóyotl, where after a while you're like you're not even sure they were in first division.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't really say that about Atlanta because Atlanta is like Necaxa. They are one of the teams. You know, they've been around for 100 years.
I know, but like newer fans, they're like, who? You know, us, John will remember, but a bunch of new fans.
I remember when,
I'm
not gonna lie, I've never liked Atlanta because they stole Caviño when I was a kid, and I was mad. I mean, I was furious. I was like, man, why would Pumas give him away? But why would he go? So I never liked Atlanta because of that. Ever.
No, I remember Hugo returning when after the World Cup. He went to Atlante after the '94 World Cup.
Why do you have to? Why? He also played for America.
He also played for Pumas. What's up with that? Why couldn't they just return home, right, John? Why couldn't they just come back home?
Exactly. I saw him in MLS, and I remember I was driving from Austin to Dallas, and sometimes this was back before the days of having everything in the palm of your hand. So I stopped and I wanted to read the paper. So I read the paper somewhere for about 20 minutes, and there's a tiny little blurb in the sports section. It said, this may not be news to a lot of you around here. That Hugo Sanchez is going to be playing for FC Dallas. But it said, but to the Mexican community that lives in Dallas, this is the biggest news they've heard since they've lived in Dallas. And sure enough, Hugo Sanchez ends up playing for. And I saw him score a chilena at the Cotton Bowl when he was with FC Dallas. It was
that's when they were the Burn, right? The Dallas Burn.
Right, Dallas Burn. Exactly.
You know what? I saw him score the best shootout. Was it called shootout?
Uh-huh.
I saw him score the best shootout because
what did he do?
The game was tied, so it goes to shootouts.
Right.
And you were like, for those that don't remember, it was you had the ball like how far from the
35, 40 yards out, like 2 18s.
Yeah, and then you would run with the ball, and then you could shoot or juke the goalie out. But what Hugo did was he went up to the ball, and then he flicked it up, and then he walked while bouncing it on his feet. He was walking. It looked like he was practicing, like warming up, and he's just bouncing it. And he got to the edge of the box, and he just like did like a first time shot and just put it in the corner.
That's hilarious.
Like, damn.
He juggled the ball up to the top of the 18 and then just blasted it.
And he scored it. I was like, God damn. He made it look easy, man. Went to the park. I couldn't do that, John. I tried in vain. Yeah, that was the best shootout I saw. And if you saw shootouts back then,
oh, they were terrible.
Horrible, man. Yeah, these guys would miss. It looked like Sunday pub teams, Yeah,
because the one-on-one with the keeper, and they tried like the craziest stuff. Like, dude, just chip it over him or just make one move. That's all you have to do.
And even when they chipped it, they'll end up in the stands. Oh man, that's classic MLS. I got to go to the very first Galaxy game, and they gave me a program, and man, I think I lost it. But
see, it's a good thing that that brother Ron's not on, because he would have wanted that for his Citadel.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if I look for it, but it was a long time ago. But I remember going through it, and it seemed a bit surreal because, when MLS first started, it had like weird names like Metro Stars and Burn and Clash and Wiz. And it was I remember feeling weirded out.
The reason that I saw that is because Mexico played Bolivia.
Oh,
That was
the
the
double.
first
They were
game.
doing double headers.
And then, and the weird thing about that Hugo Sanchez goal that I saw is that the dude in front of us that was watching the game, his name was Hugo Sanchez too.
Was he the?
I was, let's just say I was incredulous. And, the whole time I was like,
La chingada, no mames, güey.
and sure enough, he pulls out his license
Oh
and
man.
black and white, Hugo David Sanchez. I was like, oh man, you
Oh.
gotta be kidding me.
Did you ever get one of those programs, John?
No, I never did. The one that I do have, and I wish I need to find it, is the World Cup program from '94.
Oh man, that's
Did
a
you?
nice one.
Did you go? Hoa, did you go Chiquis in '94?
No, I missed. But see, just before we go on to that, this program had profiled some of the players and some of the names. It kind of felt like a wrestling program because it had like Dr. Kumalo. It was like the premier South African player.
Right.
And it just seemed like a weird name for a soccer player, If that was his first name, Doctor. That's just.
That was when Galaxy had their cool striped uniforms, right?
Yeah, it looked weird. And no, but they had Andrew Shue, who was
the guy from Melrose Place.
Yeah.
What I do remember about Gal is that they had by far the best uniforms in the league when the league started. Seriously, everyone else's uniforms were an abomination, but the Galaxy's uniforms were by far the best.
I don't know, John. It's like it looked like a Halloween type costume, right?
Yeah, but
green, orange.
No, it wasn't orange. It was green, black, and blue, and yellow.
It looked like a papaya gone bad.
You know what it looked like? It was like if you hit the wrong filter on Photoshop when you were trying to do something to the Leones Negros shirt, and a different bunch of colors come up. That was the Galaxy shirt. See, now I think Leones Negros shirt is the second best uniform in the world. So
DC United did it right for the MLS.
That is true. They did have good uniforms, but they're probably the best ones. Yeah.
But enough of that.
Yeah. So I have some very interesting stories about the '94 World Cup because I went to 3 games in Dallas. The first one was Spain, South Korea, and that was the same day as the whole OJ thing.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so because it was the first day of
the Bronco.
Yeah, in fact, the Bronco was happening. We stopped at some Tex-Mex place on the way home to catch a little bit of the NBA Finals, and we didn't get to watch it because there's the freaking Bronco anyway. But the Spain-South Korea game ended up 2-2. It was like a family reunion where we were sitting because I ran into so many people that I'd known or I hadn't seen for years, just people that just random, oh my God, because it was the World Cup, it's like, when are we going to get a chance to do this again?
Did you see both the Barcelona coaches, Luis Enrique and Pep, play?
I did. And Spain goes up 2-0, and then the Koreans, as they do, because Spain couldn't handle the heat, just wore them down and tied it 2-2, and they came real close to winning it.
Yeah, I remember.
And the Korean fans were fantastic. They were such a good crowd, and they were just so into it, and they had these chants. They were in the corners of the stadium, but they were dominating the corners of the stadium. And the whole game, they would do this thing where they would just bang, these 2 beats, bang, bang, you go Korea, the whole game, and it was impressive as hell. And then back then the Spaniards didn't have anything. They just had a couple of songs, and the songs were terrible. So there was no. They were being drowned out by the Koreans. So that was really interesting, and it was pretty reasonable as far as temperature. The second game was the Sweden-Saudi Arabia game, and that was like in 100 and something degree heat. It was at noon, and it was right in the heat of the day. The sun was out. Luckily, there was this lady that had she had a huge Ziploc bag, like one of those industrial-sized Ziploc bags, full of ice cubes and paper towels. I mean, like it must have weighed like 30 pounds. I mean, it was. She had a bunch of them, and she was passing them around to the crowd, for us to cool off. It was, it was great. Like thank you, lady. So it was Sweden, Saudi Arabia, sold out, and the stadium looked fantastic. At the midfield stripe, like the first 10 rows on either side, and both the upper and lower deck, solid green for the Saudis. It was hilarious. I couldn't. It was just the funniest thing I'd ever seen. They had them. they bought the best seats in the house without any problem.
And then probably a couple rolls just to keep them
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah, and again, it was just it was exactly it was a great it was a great atmosphere, and Sweden ended up winning that one 3-1. I had a friend of mine who almost passed out. We stupidly drank a beer while we were there. We were just dying, and then we went to the restaurant in Dallas and ran into Jerry Jones, the owner of the cow, who was also at the game, and we asked him where he was sitting, and he said, you know what he said? This is hilarious. Because we did ask him, so where were you sitting? And he said, I was nowhere near the guys in green. I just remember that. That's hilarious. Holy crap. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then the last game I saw was the quarterfinal between Brazil and Holland, which was probably the greatest soccer experience of my life.
Was that the one? Is that the one where Branco scores on a free kick?
Yes, it is. Oh, that's the other thing about the round of 16 game. The second game was that Argentina-Romania game that we were watching kind of just, dead asleep because we were both exhausted from the game. And that was easily the best game of that World Cup, I think, that Argentina-Romania game.
That's the one after Maradona gets expelled.
Yeah, it is.
And then Argentina kind of crashed a bit morally.
Yeah, they lost to Bulgaria and then they lost to Romania. But, it was a hell of a game. Romania, that was the team that every goal they scored was a golazo. Romania.
They had Georges Hagi.
Yeah, they had Hagi and Iordănescu and Petrescu, I think was the other guy. They were fun to watch.
Hagi was in Barcelona, if I'm not mistaken. And some of the other guys you mentioned, they ended up in Mexico.
Really?
In Tigres.
Iordănescu played at Tigres? I think I remember that.
Yeah, some of those guys ended up at Tigres, which is, we talk about Gignac. But hey, man, it's happened before, But a lot of these, some of these guys writing now, they've just been following the sport for less than 10 years.
So the night before in Dallas, there's an area in Dallas called the West End. It's right next to downtown. This is, of course, 20 years ago. So my friends and I told my buddies, I was like, just trust me, we're going to have a good time. Because the West End was really touristy back then. It was like, like if you were local, you wouldn't be going to the West End. But that's where all the tourists would go. And so sure enough, we go and have dinner at this on the border, little Tex-Mex place, and have a few margaritas. And then we started hearing drums in the distance, and sure enough, not 20 minutes later, like 10,000 Brazilians show up, followed by about 10,000 Dutch fans right behind them. So the party was on, and it was just I had a shirt that I sold for $90 for this guy just because he was so he just had to have it for the game the next day. It was
what shirt was it?
It was a Brazil shirt.
Was it like a T-shirt or like a jersey? It's a knockoff, John.
No, it was. I think it was a jersey.
You bought those knockoff jerseys that.
No, I think it was because it was the Umbro.
Scratchy and they make you sweat more.
No. Joel, please come on. Joel, hey, when I go to LA next week, Joel, we're staying at the Beverly Hilton, man. Come on.
There was, I was saying when I was in Germany, and I forgot what city I was in, and I was eating a torta, a doner or something like that it's called, and there's this Mexican dude, and we're just talking about, the game, and Costa Rica had just been eliminated, so this family of ticos came in, and their youngest kid was like special needs, and he.
So you didn't play the sad music for him?
No.
Okay.
Because what happens? He tugs on his shirt, and then he points at my friend who had the original Mex shirt they were wearing that, and he's like, "Let's do an exchange," and he had a knockoff, man, and the dude was like, he hesitated, but then he took it off. But I remember what was funny was that the shirt did not fit him. It was so tight. It was so tight on him. It's almost comical.
So you had to walk around the rest of the day wearing that really tight shirt?
Yeah, man.
Did he attract any attention?
I don't remember. I mean, we just, we ate food and then we went our separate ways. But I just remember him having a hard time trying to put it on.
So I learned a song that night because the song "If You're Happy and You Know It, Clap Your Hands."
Oh yeah,
The Dutch fans were saying if you hate the effing Germans, clap your hands.
yeah.
So I learned that song, and it was just a huge party for 3 or 4 hours. It was fantastic. By 2:30, everyone's on their way home, and then the next day a cold front blew through, so it was only like 85 degrees and cloudy, so the weather couldn't have been any better. And I watched the game standing next to this smoking hot little Brazilian girl who was like 19, and they were on their way to Cancun, like that afternoon after the game. They were catching a flight to go to Cancun, and they were going to party in Cancun the rest of the time. They partied in a different stratosphere than I did. I'll just leave it at that. But it was a great game, and all 5 goals happened in the second half, and I was on the Texas end, so I saw. I just love seeing the communication of the players, and on Holland's, I forget was it the first or the second goal? It was off a throw-in because this guy just caught Brazil napping, and he was yelling at Dennis, and Dennis Bergkamp. He was just waiting for the wingback to come, and he sees him, and he throws it, and the guy just marches in and scores because the Brazilians were just they were taking a timeout basically. It was a lot of fun. It was really, and just to have a game like that in Dallas. And the funniest part about the whole day was watching the news, like the local news in Dallas. Thinking that the entire world just witnessed one of the great games in history. And the entire world is talking about it. They couldn't be bothered to mention what happened in their city. It just. I think the sports guy, when he's done his report and he looks over to the anchor. Oh, and by the way, today in the Cotton Bowl, Brazil won 3-2 over Holland. That was all the coverage it got on the local news.
Well, even today, we saw that reporter asked Schweinsteiger if he was going to win the World Cup with Chicago Fire. So back then, imagine what it was like.
Right. Now, to their credit, the Dallas Morning News back then, because of Steve Davis, was one of the few newspapers at the time that had a weekly soccer column. They did a fantastic job. I mean, they had it on the front page. They had a special section. The entire, a lot of the sports section was devoted to it. I wish I still had those because I kept those for a long time because it was very comprehensive. It was great. I mean, they gave it the respect the game deserved. And the coverage a game of that magnitude deserved. It was magnificent. But the local TV was like. It's like you guys have just had this major world event happen, right down the street from you, and it's like they had no idea. Very, very interesting. Well, gentlemen, LigaMX is winding down. There are teams that are still out, teams that have not fully qualified. That, if I'm not mistaken, and this just goes to show you, is it mediocrity or parity or whatever it is? But I mean, there's a team in first place with 26, 28 points, and the team in last place is maybe 10 points behind, 11 points behind. So, not there's definitely a lot of Pumas is on a 5-game losing streak, and they're only 4. They were only like 3 or 4 points out of the, so they were firmly in the playoff zone before they completely fell apart.
That's why to me it's mediocre. You could suck for so long, you could mess up, and then you just win 2 games and you're back in.
So you think it's a mediocre? So you don't think it's parity at all? You think it's just crap?
I mean, there is parity, but because it's a playoffs and you could qualify through 8, that makes it that cheapens it.
Well, I remember it used to be 10.
Yeah,
it was awful.
It used to be 10, and then they used to have groups, which that's how you had the super leader.
Yeah, so Pumas has 18 points. They've been on 18 points for a while. They've had 1 tie and 4 losses in their last 5 games. So, and even at 18 points, they're only 4 points away from the last spot.
You you know what, John? I don't want to cut you, but I don't want to forget either. So we talked about this a few podcasts back, how like the media exaggerates. So they were talking about Chivas super leader. They have the super leader, and they were like 1 point. They were 1 point from Pachuca. So we talk about how that was a carryover from when teams had, when the league was like 4 groups, and each group had a leader, and the leader with the most points was the super leader.
Right.
So it made more sense back then, Just,
now they're just the leader.
Yeah, I mean, to call it super leader, you would have to have like a good 10-point lead. So this is the recent one I've heard, John. And I just heard it a while back when Chivas just qualified. So this is their third straight liguilla they qualified to. So the article said Chivas regresa al elite del fútbol mexicano. And it's like it was a bit laughable to me, especially because there was another article saying it's been 6 years since the top 5 Mexican teams have all been in the liguilla at the same time. So it's like, which one is it, man? Is there really an elite group?
I once years ago in Big Soccer, I something weird, like all 4 of the quote unquote Big 4 teams, Cruz Azul, Pumas, Chivas, and America, won in the same week. So I said, I wonder when was the last time that happened. And I had to go back to, I think I wrote it like in 2008 or 2009. I had to go back to like 2002, or it was something ridiculous to find the last time that that all 4 of those had won in the same week. So yeah, I think that there is some form of, you can call it parody, mediocrity, whatever it is. But back to what I was saying, there are, and this is why they do it, because with 1 week to go, right now there are, let's count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 teams alive for 3 spots for the last week. And those teams are Santos, América, Tigres, Morelia, Pachuca, Veracruz, León, Necaxa, and Querétaro.
And the 2 teams we profiled, John, have yet to qualify.
Just to rustle the inventors of this whole system, since everyone thinks it's mediocrity and all that. The result should be Tigres get eliminated, Pachuca gets eliminated, Santos, if that's even possible, and then all these like Veracruz, Morelia.
No, Santos already tied it by 1 point.
Yeah, Santos is.
Even if
they
they
would have to
lose,
take a
they're
major
in.
miracle for Santos to
Get all these scrub teams qualified and Tigres and Pachuca eliminated, and have a liguilla that's just like, oh, who are these teams? To just prove the point of, this is sort of pointless. Where I think it also goes to the mentality of these teams, like Tigres, America, and all these big teams. Sometimes they think they can go to play a Puebla and it's going to be no problem, or they can take a rest week or something and not play to their full potential.
With Tigres, Al, I really do feel that they were gunning for the Clubs World Cup. So it is a big fracaso for them not to be there. And it's a bit unfortunate because they came very close. They came very close and they missed out on that.
That's 2 Conca champions in a row that they haven't been able to. And last year against America, they were never in it. I mean, it just were. They never showed anything. They were exhausted, and you saw a little bit of that in this one. And I do think that Tuca made a huge mistake by starting Dam. I think that he was nullified by their own style of play, and it totally, there was no reason for him to be on the field at that point if they're going to play the way they were playing.
even the tactics, like they kept on going for cross after cross after cross, and Gonzalez and their defense was clearing out every single one. They were fruitless. These crosses, and they kept on going. They needed to cut in through the middle.
Hey, how has that Chilean guy done? Because I haven't really heard much of him.
Honestly, I think that he's made things.
Bundesliga?
I don't think he's helped. I think that he's kind of messed up the chemistry a little too much.
Yeah, because I mean, I think he Gignac had a good partnership with the Brazilian dude Solvis, there you go.
Right.
Rafael. And they sold him, and then this dude comes in, and he was supposed to be a major signing, and then I remember when they brought in.
Well,
and
I don't know. I'm not sure why they brought him in to begin with because Gignac was playing just fine with Sosa, but I guess they're going to get rid of Sosa.
That's right. That was another major signing, and
So
I never understood the Edu Vargas thing because of the fact they had Sosa. It's like, and then when you watch him play, he wasn't even playing forward. He was playing Chiquis. He was almost like a holding midfielder practically in the CONCACAF Champions because he was, he was 35, 40 yards away from goal most of the time.
And then they had that other guy that never worked out, the African guy. I forgot his name. I don't think he even played.
too many big names. I don't think Tuca knew how to exactly put everyone together.
Well, he might have not even requested them,
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
hey, look what just came in, dude. Like,
Here's some new players.
the Amazon Prime them.
Does
Yeah,
this
they-
tarnish, John? Does this tarnish your boys' record a bit?
Of course not. Absolutely not. No, I mean, obviously it does. I mean, but Tuca lately, he lost the Libertadores. He has 2 CONCACAF Champions losses. He lost to America in another final, and he should have lost to Pumas in one where they had a 3-goal lead. So obviously he's saving all his good juju for the Mexico national team.
Do you think
when the time comes?
Do you think perhaps another coach would be getting more out of this Tigres team?
Absolutely no. You can't blame that on Tuca. I mean, if you look at the second, I mean, how many times did Gignac hit the post in that game in Pachuca? There's at least 2 that I know of, and then the goalie made another really good save. But I do think though that he, for whatever reason, just has this innate ability to play a player out of position and have it fail miserably, and yet have him keep doing it.
Nahuel really screwed things up also.
And I did want to correct you guys. Santos is in.
Santos is in.
No,
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it. They know. They have like a point advantage.
Well, because they
Yeah.
have 25 and 20, and they are 3 points ahead of the number 18.
Yeah.
Oh, but I
and
guess I'm
number
looking at the number
19 is 4 points. So
Well, don't you go using your math on me here, young man.
so
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I just checked it right now, but yeah, still 8 teams still alive. America, they just need to eke out a point to guarantee a spot. And,
What's going to be really interesting, Dan, is how they all plinko into position 1 through 8, because
I'm excited, man.
it could change dramatically. I mean, your team could end up being one. I don't think you guys could be super leaders, but you could jump way up into the top 4, fall all the way down to 8. I mean, some crazy stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, and that Atlas match is probably exciting because they're playing Chiapas.
Joel, who Atlas is playing Chiapas, so they have the whole the center.
And then-
Veracruz is safe.
And then Monterrey is playing Morelia, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's just between Chiapas Morelia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Veracruz is safe.
I think Morelia has 1 point on Chiapas, so if they tie, I believe that they are safe as well. So I think Chiapas has
If
to
they're just-
win.
Check.
All right, I'm going to check the little numbers here, but I'm pretty sure I think Jaguares has to win.
Well, no, I mean, if Jaguares wins, that puts them at 17, and if Morelia would tie, that would still. So Morelia still, to guarantee a spot, they need to win, unless Jaguares loses, in which case it's a moot point.
All right, so let's take a look here. So Morelia is at 115. How? Yes, it's 114. Yeah, so So they both have to to guarantee. Morelia can guarantee stand by winning. Chiapas has to win, and Morelia has to not win. Is what so Chiapas does not control their own destiny.
Yeah, because even if, in theory, if Morelia were to lose and Juarez were to only tie, that would put them even at points, but they got a minus 50 compared to a minus 29.
Minus 50.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Minus 50. Yeah, see, and even if wow, that's, and those are going to be on at the same time if I'm not mistaken. I think they're both on at 7. Yeah, they would, because Atlas. Yeah, they would be on it because Atlas is playing at home. Wow, that's going to be that will be a lot of fun to watch. What do you think is going to happen, Dan? Is who's going to eke that one out?
Man, I don't know if, like, Atlas obviously is the hot team, but you could expect a possible letdown since they're already in, and there might be that like unconscious letdown to not want to injure yourself or something that may allow Chiapas, and Chiapas is obviously going to go in there with everything. And then you have Monterrey against Morelia. Again, Morelia is going to be playing for everything, and Monterrey, though, I think that you might get there's a bigger urgency to win because you don't want to go into the playoffs. I think, was it 3 losses or something, or
Could be 2 losses, but yeah,
2 losses. So that's kind of limping in, and I mean, like you said, I think your chances drop dramatically if you go in limping. So yeah, my hope, I guess, is that Morelia stays up. I was hoping Veracruz would go down, but I think Morelia is gonna stay up.
Wasn't there a relegation battle that was decided like on the last? It was the 2 teams that were dealing with it, and it was like in the 50th second of the fourth minute of stoppage time when they had 5 minutes. So I think it was between like Dorados and San Luis, and they scored, and then they kept them up and dropped the other ones, and it was.
I know. Sometimes we could mock like the lowest team, but still, it is awfully exciting because some of these teams legitimately, and I think it's the case around the world that there's the bulk of the teams don't really have a legitimate shot of winning anything ever. I think in the Mexican League, that's a little bit less so. But even still, there's still some teams that really don't have much of a shot ever. And so when you look at it from that perspective, that where this team just has different ambitions, it adds a lot of excitement. It's cool. Like you see what it means to the fans and the players themselves. I think there's a lot of pride, and you want to be able to stay in first division. So
I mean, Morelia played. They played Pumas last week. It was their first sellout, and I would assume years. No, I'm just kidding. But it was a sellout crowd, and usually when you watch a Morelia game, it's, let's just say that
not a sellout.
Yeah, sparse. But yeah, so the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic. I'm glad I missed it because I didn't want to watch any part of that.
Even the Veracruz when he scored that goal, Rio scored that goal. They were going crazy, man.
Yeah, it was absolutely huge for them.
Yeah.
And
on the flip side, you see how the Chiapas fans just lost their shit.
But they were tied. I mean, they needed to. They had a chance to go. And honestly, I thought it was going to happen when they got that foul. I thought, oh man, that's like right in the range of a guy with a good shot can get one in. And then the fans went nuts, and it took like 15 minutes to calm it down. And I'm surprised the ref even allowed the play to continue, but to his credit, he did. Once they would determine it was safe, and he gave Chiapas one last chance, and it didn't work out for them. But oof, relegation
I think
is not fun.
Yeah, and it's a tough way, for our boy Moy to.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah,
future gets a
I
little
would
dicey
rather
now.
have Morelia stay up just because.
Speaking of Moy and relegation, sorry, John, sorry to cut you there. I just don't want to forget. Um, Memo's team was officially relegated, so we have to wonder what's going to happen with him.
What is going to happen with Memo?
I mean, he was in Mallorca, where I
He-
don't think they value him as much.
Well, he has a passport now, so I think he's got a lot more freedom.
So he can go
But-
wherever.
But will there be takers? I think he's coming up like kind of similar situation as last go around with the World Cup, where he's gonna
There's no team man.
sell himself.
Yeah, he has got to
I'll just be back
get
in
better
Mexico, man.
get better advice and better representation.
I think him personally, I think he'd see it as a bit of a flop, even though, I mean, he's done well pretty much. I mean, the times that he's been able to play, with was it Ajaxio and his current team, but you don't want to go out like that, man. You don't want to come back to Mexico, because especially
What's wrong
the
with
way.
Mexico, man? What?
No, there's nothing, but the fact that he's coming back in not after.
But I wouldn't say it's because he failed. It's just not having
I wouldn't
the
call it a
right
failure
promoter,
either,
you know?
but
Dude,
I would
he
say
lived
him
in-
personally.
He lived
would not
in.
want to come back like that on
Was
such a
it-
sour note.
Was it Corsica where he lived? He lived on Corsica and he lived in Granada. I think I don't. You spent 5 years living in those two places. I don't think that was a failure at all.
No, I don't think it's a failure either. That's
It's like
not
a
what I'm
paid
saying.
vacation.
But playing for shit teams and then getting relegated isn't. I mean, you can't exactly say that you was a grand success either, especially after the hopes and that everybody pretty much had after the World Cup.
Well, I think what happened to him, unfortunately, was he got bad advice because he goes to Malaga, and this is why your agent needs to do due diligence, or your whoever represents you, because the Malaga goalkeeper coach was Cameroonian, and the goalkeeper they had there was from Cameroon. Well, guess who was going to play? It was just like, guys, use common sense.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of it too. But and I think, so that's why I personally think I have trouble believing that he would happily come back to Mexico. Not that this isn't about like whether Mexico is a step down or a step up. That's not at all what I'm trying to infer. I'm
This
just
is the
simply saying
thing.
that he wants to. I don't think he. I think he.
You think he still has the bug?
After that, he still has the bug. After that World Cup, he figured, I deserve, or I warrant my skill. The player that I am needs to be playing on an important team, and I think he still thinks he can do that.
He still gets the high-profile games with the national team. You don't need to prove anything playing in La Liga. I mean, it's nice to play the CL and all that, but it's not the end-all, be-all of football. I'd rather just, hey, you could come to right here, MLS, cash out, get his nice fat paycheck, and be treated like royalty, than be playing in bottom feeding teams.
I'm not saying that he can't do that. I'm just saying that I have trouble believing that that's the future that he wants, the immediate future that he's looking for.
I agree, Dan. But at this point, it's like John said, he got a lot of bad advice. Because I'm pretty sure if he would have stayed in France, he would have gotten his
Absolutely
his passport sooner. Yeah.
And then he could have, but he didn't, and se apresuró. And then, which was confusing because after the World Cup, he had a really good World Cup, and everyone thought he would be in demand. And there was teams like AC Milan and Liverpool.
Yeah, everybody thought he'd be in a Champions League team, essentially.
And, yeah, he ends up in Mallorca, and then he writes the Pine. So that just was even worse. So all of that was just bad on his part. Even going to Granada, where he, it was just not the right team for him.
Yeah, just that's why you have to give it up to guys like Guardado, who's been in Europe now for he's going to be there for 11 years starting next. If he goes next season, so he's been there for 10.
Yeah,
And-
it's not easy. I know
No.
that guys like him made it look easy, but consistency is not easy.
Yeah, I mean, Hector Moreno will have been there for 8. Chicharito's going to, he's going on 8. Carlos Vela's been there for 13. And he's probably, you know what, Joel? I got to thinking about your boy Carlos Vela, and it wouldn't surprise me one little bit, if he, if they iron out their differences.
No, well, I don't think he ever had any problems with Chivas.
They went out of their way to humiliate him several times.
How so? I mean, I don't.
When after the 2005 World Cup, all the Chivas players that were on the U17 team, he signs for Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
They come back to Guadalajara, and all of them.
Oh, the car. They gave him a car. Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, that's because he left on a free transfer, man.
Yeah. You can't do that to
The
him.
club got salty, but I mean, I wouldn't get mad either. You do know you're leaving, and you don't even give the club a year or two, and look what Arsenal did. They didn't even
And
play
there
him.
ain't no telling how bad a relationship he had with Chepo when they were both there.
Well, I don't think he even got to manage him. He would. I don't even.
Or but if not Chepo, then Nestor, because it was
No,
it was somebody rubbed him the wrong way, and that's what caused all that whole mess. But anyway, I do think that they're gonna work out their differences.
No, but you know what? And as much as I would love it, I just don't see it happening. Just because.
Dude, I do.
Me
I do
neither.
see it happening. I absolutely do see it happen. I'm calling it right now.
Why?
From
And when?
From your
Because-
lips to God's ears.
Two reasons, because his ciclo's done at San Sebastian. He's not. This is his last season for sure. He's not the MLS. He has a family now, so he is wanting to settle down, and I'm pretty sure he probably wants to go back to Mexico.
But look, MLS.
If that were the
can give
case,
him-
though,
And the only team in Mexico that's going to offer him big bucks to play is going to be Chivas.
No, I think any team in Mexico would offer him big bucks.
Yeah, but they would.
But
But you can't. A team like Chivas cannot afford to let a Mexican player of that quality slip through their fingers.
I don't think.
They
I think
have to. They have to get guys like
funds.
that.
I think at this time they misspend their funds. I don't think they have that much in the bank.
Well, they would have to misspend a lot.
I have trouble
They-
believing
they-
that he wants to come back to
They
Mexico.
blew their load on Pulido, man.
I don't know the guy personally, Dan, but it's just a hunch that I have. I think because of the fact, I mean, he's a changed. I mean, you can tell he's a changed guy.
But
Which
you
makes
know
me
what?
think he
became
wants
a
to
dad.
stay in Europe, not come to Mexico.
Or go to MLS. You know why? Because he doesn't like dealing with like the Mexican media.
That's
And
what
he-
I. That's
He
what I.
he
that's
stayed
what I-
away from the World Cup, and he gave 0 Fs about what they thought about him. And I think in MLS, the media is almost non-existent. He could go watch basketball games. His good bro Gio's already over here, which they
And-
probably tell him. They talk, and he's like, "Hey, what happens when you have a bad game?" He's like, "Well, nothing.
He's like,
Nothing
he's like, I
happens.
go drinking.
I go drinking, and they buy me the rounds, you know."
He's like, and half the people don't even recognize me. He's like, and the
And-
ones that do just want to party it up.
And I get to go and throw the first pitch at Dodger Stadium, and I get the good seats at Lakers.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I don't even like basketball, and I'm rubbing elbows with Kobe Bryant. How does
And
that
that's
sound, bro?
what, and I think that's something. Well, wasn't there a picture, Dan? I don't know if you remember it, where they're
Yeah.
walking in LA, and it's the Dos Santos and Vela.
No. I never saw that one. No.
No, that wasn't in LA. They were in Amsterdam.
Well, the three of them walking.
Yeah,
They're like,
when
oh,
they were going to
they're-
shopping in Amsterdam.
Yeah, you know, they're all like hipster looking. Hey,
Yeah.
that's gonna be them here. Watch.
Well,
It's gonna be
I
like
do
the
thi-
Rat Pack, and
I-
and hey, the Rat Pack.
I do think Vela's fate is eventually he's gonna find himself in the MLS for those reasons, for like security, the type of life that I think he wants to live. I think he'd be able to find that here, but if he was just looking into cash in and just looking into just securing that next big payday to secure his family, why would he be going out of his way to perform so well now? Those offers are going to be there regardless. To me, that tells me the guy is motivated to maybe squeeze out a little bit more time in Europe, because I think that payday in the MLS is going to be there for a while.
After the World Cup, I don't think for a while, because his stock, it's only going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be in his late 20s, so he's going to have to strike.
Yeah, late 20s. How old is Lampard, and how old was
but
Terry?
See, those guys are more popular.
Don't popular, yes, amongst generally fans in general, yeah, but don't forget about the massive amount of Mexicans that live in the country that absolutely are going to recognize and know Vela.
Yeah, but he's lost a lot of like popularity.
Yeah, but all he has to do,
I don't think that's
the case.
All
he has to do is score 2 goals in Russia, and that'll change forever.
And he's shown us already what he has to offer, so I don't think that's much of an issue, but you may have a point.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, you get a lot of money from sponsors. So while he could get a good contract, the sponsors, unless you're very marketable, they won't come knocking at your door. So I think Ochoa has that, and he's wasting it by playing in these small clubs.
All I know is that if there's a player of Vela's caliber that's willing to come stateside, whether it's to play in the U.S., whatever deal someone gets in front of him to at least make him think about it, Chivas needs to send him a better one. Chivas cannot afford to.
No, I agree, John.
Yeah, they cannot afford to let a player like that come back.
The one player I'm kind of scared that's going to end up in the MLS next season is maybe Chicharito. Like, what's going on? What's up with his situation? He went from being the single most, from being an automatic, if ever there was one, to not even getting into games. Well,
I think he got injured. So. Wasn't he injured?
He got hurt.
Yeah, but this coach has zero interest in playing him. Zero.
Oh yeah, the coach, did they change coaching?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is like as some of our more clever anti-Chicharito fans call him. He's back to being Bencharito.
Well, not only that, but I mean, the move has paid off for Leverkusen not playing Chicharito, because they have done nothing but lose.
Yeah, if that doesn't paint the picture of how much the coach doesn't like you.
Well, Chicharito did get hurt, and I know that he was playing, but this past week was the first time that he was he not even on the bench?
I think he's been able to play the last couple matches. I know he was injured, and you're right, but I think we'd be really being optimistic if we think that it's just injury that's caused his lack of playing time. I think his situation, he's.
Well, he broke up with that Spanish girl, and
then he was with
Camila Sodi, and things just. Remember The Natural when Robert Redford starts dating the Kim Basinger character?
Someone should have told him
to a slump.
Don't worry about these girls until you hit 30, dude.
Yeah.
Don't worry about these girls.
And then last week he must have been really depressed, because he went on this crazy Twitter thing for like 2 hours, just reposted, like answering questions. It was so unlikely.
Probably cathartic for him.
Yeah, I was depressed. He didn't reply to my tweet.
What did you?
Did you? Maybe he's been reading all these little troll-like posts from CantinaMX.
Well, you know what it is he's when you start posting the motivational stuff, as is the case on any social media, when you see your friends, post the "live your life to the full," those quotes.
What do you do with those? Do you actually respond to those?
Well, of course not. But what I do know is that person is going through something awful if they're posting that stuff right now.
They did a long time ago, and stuff like that, giving them strike.
Well, gents, I have to get going.
Did we offend you?
You
Are
stepping
you one of
off?
those people posting inspirational messages
No,
on Facebook?
not that.
Oh, okay.
Not that. But my parting words. We'll see the red pack, the cinco guys. Gio and Bella and Ochoa and that other guy. Even Guardado and Jonathan. It would be like 6.
And maybe Chicharito. So yeah, it's gonna be like 6. It's gonna be one hell of a rat pack.
Yeah.
We're playing in MLS. Is that what you're saying, Joel?
After the World Cup, though. After.
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
After
the World Cup,
2017. It's not like a year from now.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right, gents.
Man, Joel, if they make the semifinals in that World Cup, they can play wherever they want.
That's true. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Bueno.
Well, Joel, thank you very much for joining us. And we've been on for 2 hours, and then we'll have a little Santos talk, and then we'll wrap it up. What do you say, Dan? Because I know you want to.
Sure, I'll stay on for a couple more minutes.
You'll entertain some Santos talk.
Yeah.
So.
Leaders, man. See you.
Have a good one.
Take it easy, Joel. So, who does Santos have to finish the season?
A very good match against Toluca.
Oh, is it in? So it's like a
at
test.
Home.
It's like a test almost.
Yeah, it's
like you couldn't ask for better. You couldn't ask for a better way.
Yeah, you win that game and you're feeling pretty damn good about yourself. So yeah, I think it's a game that both teams would like to win. I mean, beating possibly future opponents in the Liguilla. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. I mean, it seems like every match this last jornada is gonna be exciting. But like you said, if Jonathan hopefully gets he seems to be getting a little bit more consistent. If we could eke out a goal from Furch, then yeah, man, I like our chances. I really do. And they just have to shore up, and also just some of the mental lapses. I mean, you think about the way they've not won some of their games, and you're like, man, dude, like just millimeters. So I mean, obviously, if very, very big ifs, but yeah, I definitely I don't think they're going to do it, but I think they got about as good a chance as most.
Yeah, I mean, there's
because nobody out there is overwhelmingly better.
I see Santos as a team that they're on the verge of just really getting it going. I see Furch as a guy who, okay, buddy, you get a pass for that bad season, but we need you now. It's we need you to get some goals. Not only that, but I mean the team, as far as scoring is just tailor made for Liguilla, because they have the two centrales that are just fantastic on set pieces. Both of them are just terrific.
It's and they see a lot of people think of the ties, and it's you would figure that Santos hasn't scored that many. They have actually scored quite a bit. They're amongst the top teams in scored goals. It's been a combination of those late goals that they've allowed, and also just not finishing chances that have made the difference. But they can put, like you said, both of our I'm saying both of our oof.
Yeah, I
both
do that
of
too. I catch myself every time. It's embarrassing.
It is. I'm trying to keep it professional here, but both of their center backs are excellent scorers, excellent on set pieces. It's a huge advantage.
Yeah, absolutely, and then that's why I give them much more than a puncher's chance of at least making it to the semis and maybe even beyond.
Giannini's having a really great season. Some of the kids obviously have come up. Gael.
I like Gael, man. He is fun.
He's got a motor, man.
Yeah. And the other, not Uli Davila, but Uli Rivas, the other. I mean, he just goes. Does he ever not stop running?
And I believe some of Villafania has been started, but I think it's because some of those guys and they're off. I think with the U20s, so, some of their players. So that also is leaving the bench a little bit thin. But even still, this is exciting part of the season. They came up a little bit short with the points totals, but I mean, I think they're securing their spot in the Liga as
They
definitely
also
a
have
step in the right direction.
Crazy good home field advantage because they no one else plays in that heat.
Yeah,
And
but they make it easier though. I think it's. I mean, anytime it's really hot, they give them breaks, so it does nullify that significantly, I think.
That was actually the first place that I remember seeing the breaks, and
they did it right.
It's like yeah, they have to do
water
it.
break.
It's 100. It's 100 something degrees. I mean, geez.
Yeah, and you can imagine like in a bowl in a stadium, it's probably another 10, 15 degrees hotter. So yeah, no, I understand it. It's probably the right thing to do, but from my fanboy perspective, it's like, well, I'm like, this defeats the whole purpose. Yeah. I'm like, it's not like you thaw out the snow when somebody else plays in the snow, or it's not like if someone decides to play a game in like the coldest part of winter. So yeah, that kind of stuff kind of does. So I don't know. I'm not sure if it. But even still, like you said, it still sucks playing. I'm sure it still sucks having to play.
I mean, it's like it's not they're just giving one team that advantage. They're giving both teams. It's
now if Chepo can, if the team is fresh and they got those legs to really just push and press and just
of course they have
outlast them.
They have the secret Liguilla weapon on the bench too. We can't forget. I'm talking about Chaton.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He tends to be his go-to guy late in the game.
He is the icer. Yes. I've noticed that.
Yeah. He's like go out there and just like take out a couple of angles if you got to.
I'm not gonna lie, Dan. I'm kind of doing a stalling tactic. It's time we have to talk about the elephant in the room, Chiquis. You and I have to get into our sad Pumas talk because it's not the best way to end the show, but I mean we have to. I mean, as ambassadors of the team here in this country, of all things good, to watch them just.
I'm frankly saddened by it, to be honest with you. I'm not a Pumas fan, but I'm a fan of Palencia, and I'm hoping that he was doing such a good job. But obviously, that's what happens when you're dependent on one guy.
Yeah, and they were dependent on Nico Castillo, who was just killing it. He was killing it from the very first. I think, Chiqui, as you said after game one, like, man, I like that Nico Castillo guy. Man, he can play.
Yeah. And
from the very first game, and he comes back with the FIFA virus, and oof, and then things just fell apart. And I am so glad I did not watch that game, but I was keeping up on it, and it check every 20 minutes, and I was like, oh my god. Now, of course, I wasn't saying that out loud, but just every goal, it didn't make sense. Like, how on earth could they lose 4-0 to a team like that? Just
well, did you see the tweet from Dario Veron indicating that that they may have been told to lose the game?
That's not what he said. I think that he was probably upset with how the coach was. I think he was just following the coach's orders, is what he was saying. It's like, we were just doing what the coach was telling us to do.
Well, he deleted it, so that's suspect.
Well, still, I mean, I would delete. You can't be bad mouthing the coach like that. You can't be bad mouthing. I mean, it's just not professional, and it's that there's no way that had anything to do with any kind of funny business. It's just
they did. Gallardo did good, and they beat Chiapas 3-0 without him, and then they had a close game with Toluca, and then from there it just went down.
The issue with Pumas though is Veron and Arco are both just. I mean, they're like both in their mid-50s.
Yeah,
I mean, sir, Veron, he's been a terrific player for Pumas. He's been there over 10 years. As good a defender as LigaMX had for the bulk of his career playing in LigaMX. He's been terrific. Unfortunately, his downside is upon us, and it's sliding a little further than we would hope, and maybe it's time for him to take a seat back and let some of the youngsters play, like Jaques, who was actually pretty decent, although Gignac did make him look a little silly when they were playing, and I think it was Conca Champions. But
I think they're just in a reconstruction phase. This is a good indication towards the end of the season for them to look at making some changes.
Yeah, I mean, they lost Barrera and they lost Niga, and those two guys were carrying the team. And I feel so bad for Barrera because he was playing so well. It wasn't like ever going to reach like national team level again, but he was just being a solid contributor on a good team. And it just heartbreaking for him. His third knee surgery.
Oh, really? Is that what happened?
Yeah, just really unfortunate. Man, what a great career that guy was having.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody was like, yeah, just generally excited about what the potential that he had, and I remember being excited watching him play for the U20s.
Well, I just
leading
remember
up to it
when Vela went down in the France game, and he was he filled in admirably, man. He had a great game.
Yeah, the guy was a beast. Pre-knee injury, the guy was really good.
Yeah, so that's happened, and then for Palencia, for people saying that he has to go, this is the first time he's ever been a coach, so he's learning on the job too, and give him a year or two to see where it goes. I mean, if it's like if next year it's an unmitigated disaster, and he's only getting 12 and 13 points a season, yeah, he has to go. But I mean, this season they were up until was it the Toluca game, Chiquis? I mean, they were like in 4th or 5th place, and then it just totally fell apart after that, and they lost. It
would be terribly premature to fire him.
Yeah, there's no, and in Pumas they don't pull the trigger like that on coaches anyway. It's never been their style. They wait until the bitter end when they've the specter of relegation is upon them before they ever make a change like that.
I've seen support for him also more so than Tuca. After the CONCACHAF loss, I've seen a lot of hate for Tuca, but not so much for Palencia. So he might have some hope still.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I know he's John's guy, but I have my doubts about Tuca. I think he, if looking at it and not just basing it off this, but even prior, I've kind of had the notion where I think he's underachieved on some level with Tigres.
¡Cállese, carajo!
How dare you?
You just provide so much lulls and so much like good feelings that your heart gets into it.
And I feel bad saying it.
You know what I found out last week, and this blew me away. I mean, my mind was blown. Gabiño obviously is the leading scorer in Pumas history. I mean, even though he had a short, his period that wasn't as long as it should have been, but he's the leading scorer. The number 2 guy is Tuca. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, I've never seen him play like live, but I went and watched some clips, and I was impressed.
He had a shot on him.
Yeah.
He was.
What was he, a midfielder?
Yeah, he was like. Not the center guy, but he would be like a winger or a midfielder. He'd play that hybrid role. He had a fierce shot. He knocked a couple guys out. I remember like hitting in the head in the barrera was rough. Tuca. No,
Well,
he did not do well in the Coca Champions. I mean, he made some, and then the decision to who was the guy that he brought in to replace Dam, because that guy was even less effective than Dam was.
Celarayan. He plays all right, but
No, I was talking about the Colombian guy. I think he was number 14.
Celarayan. It wasn't him.
No. It was the. I'm sorry.
Vincula.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he just.
Yeah, he wasn't doing anything.
I mean, yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, and when I guess that was what was so frustrating, because that was when they needed a guy like Dam to go run under those crazy long balls that they were having to feed up there in the first half. Dam was just, it was just his. They nullified what his strengths are. And
what was he receiving the ball with like two guys on him, and then he'd pass it back?
That pretty much. He just, he didn't get to use his speed down the. I mean, to me, his most important element is his speed, and he just didn't get a chance to take advantage of it. Like on a counter or, on a deeper pass. It just didn't happen. So to me, it was like if you're not going to use that guy for that, then why is he even out there?
Yeah, I'm just mostly disappointed because now we have a Chucky less Pachuca representing the league at the Club World Cup now.
We should talk about Chucky, because you're right. He's probably not going to be there. I mean, how unbelievable was it that he got the entire back line of Tigres yellow carded in that game, and then got their holding guy out. I mean that is. I mean it wasn't, and each one of those yellows was 100% a yellow card. I mean, it wasn't, and it was all because he'd put the moves on him on a breakaway, and they're like, and boom. I mean, he takes an insane amount of fouls.
It's his first step that's so quick, but not to be a hater, that's pretty much all he did. I mean, he was shut down.
Well, that's not true though, because he did have the shot that
the final shot, but
yeah.
During the whole game, he would get the ball, get fouled. He would get the ball, move a little bit, get fouled, and so he really couldn't break.
Yeah, but don't think that Tuca didn't tell his team, if he gets by you, you bring his ass down. So he was yeah.
And I think
they were under orders to do that.
You guys really messed it up in the first game, not getting a win there. After that, I sort of suspected it.
But that's what they do, though. I mean,
well, the killer was that early goal. That early goal in Monterrey, that Pachuca, like in the fourth minute. That was, I mean, that changed everything about how the whole thing played out.
Yeah, you're right.
It was
and credit to them. I mean,
Pachuca's a good team, and we talk about all the national team players.
Yeah, I mean,
they got just as many.
They're doing things the right way. Also, I mean, it's just I just don't see them as a team that legitimately is going to be able to compete. But maybe they'll prove us wrong, But and we just see a team that's stacked like Tigres. That.
See, I don't think Chucky should go to Europe.
Yeah, neither do I.
Really?
I don't, because I think that I think that he needs probably a year or two of playing somewhere. Dude, he also has like 3 kids. He's 22 and has 3 kids.
A newborn.
Yeah, I disagree. I think he needs to get the hell out of there now. You could see the way it's even changing some of his attitude. Like he's kind of like.
They do foul him way too much, and I think that's on the league.
But what are they going to do? I mean, they're like you said, the last game they gave everybody yellows the way they were warranted. I mean, you can't put any more rules in place to protect the guy. I mean, all they can do is call the fouls.
That was a good ref game, and it cost Tigres the championship. So the next team that Pachuca plays, possibly in Liguilla, they're gonna know. Okay, if you mess with him, it's the same thing that happened to Tigres is gonna happen to you.
Yeah, but they're gonna take those yellows happily. Because the thing is, there's nobody in the league is able to stop him. That's why I think he needs to get out, because I think since I at least I don't think anybody can stop him. And the only thing that's there for him to do is get hurt. I'm like, just leave, dude. I'm like, try, and because I don't have any doubt that what he does in Liga MX, he's gonna do in whatever league he plays in. There's no real good defense for someone as quick as someone as quick as he is. He's gonna
And with good ball control to boot.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's impossible to defend. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna make anybody look stupid. It's not a knock on the Mexican league, but I think he's just ready for that next step, and I think he's gonna do fine in that. And I think he personally, just the way he acts, the childish sometimes, I think he's kind of like on some level over it, checked out.
Possibly.
And with this, and it's kind of hard to want to stay when you constantly have to hear and read all these rumors about and all the speculating that goes on.
See, I think he'd be a good villain in America. I really do.
Yeah,
I think he has a little of that in him. I think it's starting to come out a little bit.
If you mean crybaby tendencies.
I like the way he cries though, and he counts the fouls. He's got a good.
Yeah, I don't know. And maybe because I don't look at America with the grandeur that you do. I'm like, he's winning more Pachuca than he is at America. So
this is true. But in all honesty, if Chucky does go to Europe, I mean, he don't go to the Dutch league and don't go to the Portuguese. Just go ahead and go to La Liga or La Bundesliga, and go to a upper mid-table team, top half team, and go knock it out.
Yeah.
But don't waste your time in the Portuguese league or the one of the other. If you're gonna go and do it right. And I think yes, I think he does have the talent to do that. There's no question. But I do think that Liga MX has to start keeping some of their better players and not just whisking them away. A lot of us
or keeping them longer. I get that also. It's going to be hard though with the as global as the game is and as readily available all those matches are. These kids coming up, I mean, their dream is never going to be to play for Chivas or America. Their dream is always going to be to play for
Pumas. I know.
Well, Diego Lainez's brother, I heard that Pachuca was trying to get him to replace. I don't know if Chucky or whoever was going to leave.
What is the deal with not wanting? I mean, why are people so hung up on the fact that Lainez is a teenager? Who cares?
New, because it's new, and in this case, level to innovated, and all these noobs are like, "What's going on?"
I haven't seen him play that much. From what I hear, it's been pretty impressive. Is it way too premature to even remotely consider national team call-ups?
Like senior team call-ups?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely premature.
You know what? I would actually, because it's such a Moledo tournament, I would go ahead and call him up to the Gold Cup. He didn't have to.
Okay.
He didn't have to play, but at least let him see what he would have to deal with.
Give him a sniff.
Exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, the dude has already played at in Liga MX and played well, so he obviously can.
In a high pressure situation,
yeah.
I mean, you don't get more high pressure than playing for America.
And I did watch the second half of the Atlas game this past weekend, and from what I did see of him, he did show. I mean, does he make mistakes? Yeah, but who doesn't? But his positives far outweigh the negative. I mean, there's no, and he came within centimeters of scoring a real badass, straight up golazo. After juking, was it two guys? Chiqui, did you see it, Chiquis?
Yeah,
where he juked two guys and he had the shot and the goalie just made the save.
Yeah, he sort of reminds me of Chucky that not in his like what do you call it? Yeah, vertical speed, but in his speed and dribbling. but then at the end he like screws up either the shot or the or the pass. Like he's got a first instance of brilliance, and then he, it doesn't
But
hit.
not always, though. I mean, you're right, but there are times where he does connect. I mean, those things take time, but what I think that what makes him really, really special, Dan, is that he can make things happen in extremely tight spaces. Not necessarily being quick, but just he has really good ball skill, incredibly good ball skill. And
amazing that he's like so brave in going up against these like grown men when he's old, and not just like and getting close contact with them and just like juking them and going right near them like close paces, like John is saying. It's crazy. He's really good.
Yeah, I mean it's very impressive.
Because I briefly commented on this, I think on the boards about like someone had mentioned about him going to the national team, and the conversation kind of or someone at least brought it up in conversation as a comment about how inevitably a huge part of the media is going to complain that about paying his dues and having proven himself, and I've always thought that was like the dumbest thing. I'm like, you take the best players that are playing in the moment.
Right.
I'm like, why do they have to have played well consistently over a length of time?
And not only that, but
it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, it's the Gold Cup, so, Mexico wins their first two games. They're playing, whoever it is, St. Kitts and Nevis in the third one. Why not? Hey, Lioness, go out there and play. Why not?
Yeah, or if they're even winning comfortably in a game, throw them out there and get some garbage minutes too.
Absolutely. If I were Osorio, I would make that Gold Cup team. I would make it strictly if you're going to send LigaMX boys, there's no reason to do anything other than a U23.
You have to think that there's almost zero pressure from the federation on Osorio regarding that tournament.
Yeah, just make it a U23.
That should be good enough to get past the group stage for sure.
Absolutely. Let Julio Rivas play. Let all these Santos guys. That have impressed.
That'd be cool, man. There's all these kids coming from the U20s. That'd be wouldn't be a terrible idea for some of these guys.
Yeah, then that way you could absolutely justify having Linus on the team.
Yeah, man, that wouldn't be a terrible team right there. Not at all.
I feel bad.
Attacking.
I don't call him Linus or Linus. I call him, Linus from Peanuts.
And all of a sudden we have a whole ton of comments on the YouTube page.
Oh my God!
Guys arguing and stuff.
Arguing.
Well, I think one guy's trolling about MLS and LigaMX, but
please share.
A lot of activity. Well, he's saying MLS is better than LigaMX by a lot and all that stuff.
Oof.
No.
Maybe one day, but not right now.
So this is how much we've grown. We're actually attracting trolls from the opposing team.
That is hilarious.
We got trolls posting. That's great. Or unless he really believes that the MLS is that much better than LigaMX, in which case I guess he's entitled to his opinion.
So if it was a U23 team, then Chofis would be able to go. Pulido not so much. But of course, all these guys are hurt right now. But I mean, they could put together a really solid team. You can have Cesar Montes and Rivera as your centrales if you wanted, or have them in the midfield.
You could have the two fullbacks from Santos that are both under 20.
Right. You have. I'm not so sure that. What's his name? The kid from Pumas that's been called as a Gallardo. I don't know if he's quite Confed Cup material just yet. He would definitely be one to go to the Gold Cup for sure. Yeah, they could put together pretty good. To me, why if you can have a all LigaMX goal, why call a bunch of 32-year-olds? It would make no sense. So just make it a U23.
Yeah, and
Germany is
something
sending a
and something good can
U23
come
to the
out of it
Confed
too.
Cup. That's how much Germany cares about the Confed Cup. They're sending their U23, and I guarantee you they'll make the final.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah, I mean seriously. I mean you know it's going to happen.
Well, I think they're a team like theirs. They obviously have nothing to really gain from a Confederations Cup, so it's
Right.
probably thinking, let's just give our guys, our older guys especially,
A break.
the summer off.
Yeah.
Whereas
Absolutely.
Mexico isn't in that position where we're desperate to wash away that 7-0 from the Copa America, and this is like the first chance to
And
try to really wash that taste out.
And they get Portugal right off the bat, and there's not a player in the world playing better right now than Cristiano Ronaldo. It's
So what you're telling
rough.
me is that it is an excellent opportunity to do just that.
Yes.
Because there's going to be, I mean, you're going to be hard pressed to come up with. Well, no, I'm sure his detractors will say, everybody knows nobody cares about the Confederations Cup, so I'm sure that'll rear its ugly head. But I mean, this is a legitimate shot for.
That would be hilarious if Ronaldo skipped the Confed Cup.
Well, again, I mean, I think they kind of fall on some level similar to Germany. I mean, they just won the Euro.
No, I mean, yeah, but that FIFA is going to tell Cristiano, come play the Confed Cup, then there'll be an account, a Swiss bank account. You'll have access to that as 20 million euro. I mean, yeah.
You're gonna tell me that you don't think Nestor Araujo is not gonna be able to just shut his ass down, just stop him?
I think the beard is gonna
Come on.
is gonna find out not only what flavor chewing gum Cristiano chews during the game, but what his cologne is.
He's gonna be like, "Bitch, this is all you got."
What his antiperspirant is,
yeah.
And then whether or not he uses any kind of talcum for athlete's foot.
He's gonna get familiar with all of it. He's gonna be bathing.
That's right. He's gonna find out if the posts in his earrings are 14 karat or 18 karat gold. No, it's gonna be as big a test as Mexico has ever had in a game to have to deal with a guy like that.
And just the questions, I think, from the last summer, I think inevitably will weigh heavily if these players ever want to not hear about that 7-0 again.
Right.
They need to represent well in this tournament, and I think that'll shut up people up enough where it's like, all right, we won't bring it up every time we talk to you.
The thing about Ronaldo, which is why he's not necessarily a really good matchup for Mexico, is that he's a big boy. He's 6'1", 6'2". He weighs every bit of, 180, 190, 200 pounds.
And Beto could confirm this, that he is all muscle.
Yeah.
Yep, he hikes up his shorts so you can see.
I mean, why else, when you have a Beto, do you buy the CR7 brand of undergarments?
No, I don't.
No.
Probably too high roller for me.
Well, I think that high rolling would be something that would happen just in a different way than what you're describing right there. But indeed, yeah, it's going to be it'll be a very big challenge for Mexico to have to shut, especially. I mean, he's had 2 hat tricks in a row in the Champions League. He's just he's playing great. He's playing really well. He and has been doing it for a very long time, an extended period of time. It's been a pleasure to watch him.
He will not score against Mexico.
He does well. Well, this one guy said Nestor Araujo is better than Sergio Ramos on the chat.
Goddamn right. You're goddamn right.
But Mexico's weakness is Ronaldo's strength with the set pieces and his headers. So it's going to be hard unless they mark him real well, and they don't.
I mean, but that's the thing though, is that he can, it's not just the headers. I mean, all he has to do is get position for, a tiny.
We're gonna be
tiny
fine.
little
We're gonna
second.
line up. We're gonna line up with Salcedo, Araujo, Moreno, Rafa.
Is Rafa going to be back?
For the Confederations Cup, I mean, I'm assuming, but anybody who's 6 feet tall, you could better believe, regardless whether their position is, they're going to be playing. Probably all we're going to have about 8 center backs.
You're probably
just
right.
for those set pieces, man. I'm probably going to be only slightly off.
Yeah,
judging by
the set pieces are the main concern because you can stop him from getting passes. You can just block him off and stop him from getting passes, but the set pieces, he can run and find space to get ahead on the ball.
Dude, there's a reason why he scores a lot of goals. He gets open. He doesn't. Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. See, before the Euro, the previous tournaments where, like, it especially seemed to be World Cups, he would get hurt like the month before. It happened in 2010. It happened in 2014. He didn't get hurt before the Euro, and he's just killing it right now. And he had a great Euro, and he's like, yeah, it's going to be the biggest challenge Mexico's had in quite a while. To at least to stop one player. They really haven't had to deal with that. I know that they played Argentina in 2010, but you have to worry about a lot more than just Messi when you play Argentina. So, and Portugal's not like that at all. It'll.
I don't know. I guess I've never been too overly impressed with what Portugal does. I'd much rather play them than Argentina.
And just think
I would like our chances about winning every time against Portugal as opposed to Argentina.
If Gignac doesn't hit the post in the final, Mexico would be playing France instead of Portugal. How quickly things can change.
Yeah. But I'm hoping now, because I think Rafa would probably like to get another crack at playing Portugal again.
Yeah, what happened to him in the last time they played Portugal? That was just
surreal, man. I was really bitter after that one. I just remember saying, man, I just could not believe it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like what he would never in a million years ever do that.
Beto's hated him ever since.
Is this true, Chiquis?
What happened?
The handball that Rafa had against Portugal
But you never forgave him for that one?
I don't recall that one.
Dude,
you don't.
It was on a corner kick, and he threw his hand at the ball on a corner kick. Something he would just never do.
And it was obvious too. Like it was like impossible not to call, not to see.
Yeah, I mean the ref gave him a yellow card for it. It was so bad. Let me ask you this, Dan. Does that bother you as much as Corona's watching Pirlo's ball go into the net? Here, I'm just gonna watch it go in. Stop. Bothers me.
The Rafa one hurts more just because he's my favorite player. So the times he's had his mental lapses, it's almost like watching your hero disappoint you. It's just
right.
Heartbreaking, really. It's just like, come on, man.
Well, did he make up for it? Did he make up for it when he scored against Argentina?
No.
So
made up for it. No,
that was good, Rafa. But you gotta.
No. I mean, we lost the game, dude.
That's true.
I mean, if we had won that game, that'd be like, what handball?
Yeah.
But history, it's I think ultimately that dictates whether you get it off the hook or not.
I don't think Rafa's going to go to.
If you're screw up, I still do. I mean, obviously, they're going to have to really.
He's just now started his rehab. He's just started doing some exercises with
a couple of rolls of duct tape. It's just a couple. It's 3 weeks. 3 weeks. more than likely 2 weeks, or maybe even 1 week. But just to patch them up together to last. He just needs to time it right so he doesn't pick up a knock weeks before.
I don't know if you want to risk it with with his age. I mean, coming back after not playing. The sad reality is, and this is not a knock on Rafa or the LigaMX. It just goes to show you how great a player Rafa is. Is that even Rafa at like 40% would be better than almost anybody else, even at his age.
I just saw the handball. The thing I don't forgive Rafa for is his like mental issues.
The red cards?
The red cards in the US and all that stuff, which I think he's sort of overcome, but I wouldn't be surprised if something else happens with this dude.
What I can't forget Rafa for was this awful hairdo he had in the mid-aughts. Good God.
In the what?
Like in the 2005, 2006 period where it was like.
Oh, that's when he got the handball. He had his
yeah.
The ponytail? You don't like the ponytail?
No, the man bun thing that he had to go. It was no.
Oh, the man bun.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
ponytail was legit, but the bun, yeah, I'm not down with the bun. Don't you say anything bad about him, dude.
Can't have that.
I'm gonna push
I just don't see how Rafa can make it to the there's just no way. I think he's, let him see how he does with the season. Like give him the summer off, and let him see how he does in recovery, and then playing for the Atlas. And if he, if he's decent for the next season, then absolutely he can go to the World Cup. But there's no point. I mean, Mexico has to learn that they have to start playing without him, and this will be the first big, because there's no guarantee he's even gonna make Russia. So you gotta figure out what you can do without him.
Well, he's talking like he wants to go now
to the Confed Cup.
No, to the World Cup. I'm actually okay with him sitting at the Confed Cup.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Like if the goal is really to.
Well, didn't he play the World Cup for Colombia like at 48 practice? I mean, no, not that much, but he was pretty old when he played in the last World Cup.
Well, there's been a couple of older guys. What was it? Someone from France. That guy was on there for a really long time.
Well, I mean, Lothar Matthäus was. I mean, he was chasing down Cabrito in '98, and his first World Cup was '82.
And also in Italy, he had a couple of guys going well into their 30s. So
yeah, Franco Baresi.
It's not totally unfounded, especially for a center back.
I mean, Claudio Suarez went to the 06 World Cup at 40, so.
And we're not the only ones that are totally dependent on an old has-been center back. I mean, look at Argentina.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not exactly really, really, really good center backs aren't all that common. So I mean, that's why guys like him and Mascherano continue to find work.
That's very true.
I was watching some old highlights too. Somebody was bad mouthing Rafa, speaking illy of him, saying that he wasn't really pivotal during his Barcelona years. So I just looked up a couple old highlights, and I ran into this one. I believe it was a Champions semifinal against Chelsea in 2006, I think, where he moved up. He followed the play, and he caught the ball. He found the ball at the top, like in the corner of the box.
Oh, and he centered it to Eto'o. That one?
Yeah, man, that thing was just perfect. Just beautiful cross. And yeah, they won the game 2-1. Just everything just went nuts. Everybody went nuts.
I watched that game in Kerrville, Texas.
That was a hell of a game.
That was a great, and I was watching it with this crusty old cowboy, and he was getting into it. It was hilarious. He was like, "Man, I don't remember. I had no idea soccer could be this exciting."
That was a game where Messi got one of the guys red carded, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was. Was that also the same game where Ronaldinho, or I think that maybe it was the year before, Ronaldinho scored a ridiculous goal against Chelsea, where he he toe punched it into the corner? But I think that may have been the year before. Yeah, I remember that game. That was a hell of a good game, and I remember that goal that that Rafa served up for Eto'o. It was really good.
It's
That
just,
was the year they
because
won the whole
you're
thing.
thinking. I remember watching it. I'm like, what the hell is he even doing there? So far up the pitch.
That was when they were wearing their like chewing gum colored uniforms.
Yes.
So you must have really liked it when Rafa scored against America in the Club World Cup that same year.
Anytime he scores, man, I celebrate, dude. It's kind of hard to. But to be honest with you, I remember that game, and I think I might have been rooting for Club America. My Mexicanness might have.
Well, sure. I mean, you want to do that, but then when you see, that like, they're sending the message, man, we're gonna beat your ass so bad that even Rafa's gonna get in on the scoring. We got all these guys. Look at our team.
Well, you can't be mad if Rafa scores on you. That's the way I look at it. I'm like, you can't be mad at that, dude. I mean, look at him. Dude. How could you be mad at him?
Yeah, that's true.
Does he still have his cologne line? RM?
I don't know. I'm not
'Cause I
familiar
remember
with
for a short while I remember it reading he had gotten a cologne.
it. Did you buy some?
No.
Yeah.
I believe it was only sold in Spain
Oh.
and in Mexico. So no. I did check my local.
They don't have a
department
tianguis
stores.
up there in LA.
No, yeah. Swap meets, you mean?
Yeah.
We call them swap meets. But yeah, no, we got them. But I never ran into to his cologne.
Well,
his Kaiser, dude. Yeah.
He has. But I mean, like I said, I mean, if he's playing at a level where it's warranted, I will absolutely welcome him. But if not, no. But like I said, a U23 team for the Gold Cup, I think would be smashing. It would be great.
Yeah, let's hope that one happens, because I think at the very least, as Moleto as it is, it'll be interesting. I think for Mexico fans to see to get a glimpse of the kids that are coming up, and because inevitably some will shine and immediately get inserted into for the next cycle.
Yeah, exactly. And the last time they had a U23 team that played like that, they ended up doing pretty well, by winning the gold medal. So
yeah, a couple of guys came out of the Moleto Gold Cup, right? It was at didn't Layun come out of that one?
Layun came out of it. Brizuela came out of it. Luis Montes, but I think he was. Yeah, but no, and then Raul Jimenez, that was his tournament too. That was in the midst of the Chepo fog, unfortunately, where even when the other team was playing just as bad as the first team, they were just totally confused. It was very unfortunate. I don't know what happened to Chepo. It just didn't like something. There was a massive disconnect, and it just didn't really.
I was like one of the last people to jump off. I was kind of like, it's gonna turn around, guys. It's gonna turn around.
I was hoping it would turn. Believe me, I was hoping it was going to turn around too.
Just because of how well the team had played previously and how just good they looked. But I mean, you get an injury here, controversy there, an after party that messes things up, and
it would be hilarious if things don't work out for Osorio. Tuca says no.
Oh man, wouldn't that be hilarious?
And then they go Chepo.
Yeah, but they're gonna go to Piojo before they go to Chepo again.
How
I think
could
people
they
would
though?
really
How
resent
could they,
it
though?
Because I think people like Piojo.
Yeah, but he bitch slapped somebody.
Martinoli would object to Piojo, to Chico, and to Vucetich. To all three of them. He'd rant.
Chepo has to win a league in order for him to even get a sniff. because of the last go around. And you still have some of those players still there. I think maybe if he came back and it was like a fresh crop of new players that weren't there, I think it'd probably make more sense to maybe give him another try. But I'm okay with him staying at Santos for now.
Do you like the Chepo, the new studious Chepo with the glasses? Does it make him look smarter? Do you feel more comfortable? Think, oh well, the Chepo's got the glasses on. He's got to be.
No, I just think he's just showing his age. That's all I see. He's lucky though. He's not more gray.
Hey now.
Just saying. I mean, he's a little bit older. So
yeah, you don't think Chepo uses Just for Men?
I do actually. It's pretty jet black.
Is it really?
Like, well, I don't know. It just seems like to me, it's like I mean, whose hair is really that black?
Is it blue black?
Yeah, it's almost Superman black.
Can I tell you? I don't know if I should. My wife would kill me. No, I can't do it. I'll have to tell you guys offline.
All right.
Sorry, audience.
Yeah, don't start sharing things about your wife, man.
Yeah, no, she would.
Even though she doesn't listen.
She keeps threatening to come on, and I told her that as the trash talking Juanita, she has every opportunity to come on here and talk trash, but she has yet to do it. We'll have to get the trash talking Juanita on here at some point.
That'll be funny.
Well, gentlemen, I think that we can go ahead and wrap it up. It's another very successful edition of the CantinaMX Podcast. Got a full Santos edition practically. Dan, I think that your boys are we're gonna have to be talking about Santos for the next 3 or 4 weeks.
That's certainly the hope, John. And I'll be feeling pretty good about myself because so far I've been my early prediction was that I guaranteed playoffs, which isn't really going out on a limb. It's almost like a coin toss, but yeah, I got that part right. And Tigres needs to really turn things around in order for that other part of my prediction to come true.
Well, I mean, Tigres will. I think they'll beat Querétaro, and then they'll be like everyone's.
And let's not BS. I mean, is there a team that nobody wants to? If there's like one team that everybody has circled that they don't want to see in the playoffs, it's got to be Tigres.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it's oof. Yeah, the other when those matchups come out, it's going to be interesting. There's going to be some teams will not be happy with who they have to play.
It'll be a fun show next week to go over.
It will be a fun show next week. This is the that's why this is what cracks me up about myself is like I could piss and moan about LigaMX and other ridiculous way but the bottom line is that I really enjoy the Liguilla because it's it's meaningful. There's soccer with purpose.
I think it's clear that all of us I think can acknowledge the Mickey Mouse-ness of it all, but cannot deny the excitement that these matches are generating. I mean, who can get this excited? I mean, for Atlas, Chiapas, I'm looking for. I'm hoping I'm able to watch. Monterrey, Veracruz, not just my team, just so many matches to see. So many teams have something to play for.
Yeah, you're not going to set your schedule to watch the Pumas Puebla match, I'm sure.
Oh man. Well, you can't win them all, right? There's but hey, that's a good chance for 3 points, and the season on a nice note.
As a Pumas fan, for me, if we can make the Liguilla, 2 out of every 4 seasons, 3 out of every 4 seasons would be better, but just. And then make it to the occasional final like we do, and maybe win one every once in a while. I'm totally fine with that.
I'm okay with that too, actually.
Yeah, because I know they can't make it every year, and I get that. So just keep doing what you're doing, and
a championship every maybe 5 years is asking too much, but 5 to 8 years,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's pretty decent. I mean, I think I'd be pretty content. You know, you're winning enough to be absolutely relevant, and yeah, no, I would take that in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
So Chiquis, are you pulling for your Gatos this week?
No, my
All Chiapas.
Pumas is all done, so I give up on Gatos.
Damn.
I'm even interested to see if Tigres fail. So that if they do, I'm going to be laughing. So that's something to sort of not really hope for, but
Wow.
it'd be funny to see happen.
How quickly. See, so you are mil máscaras then, because it just doesn't matter to you. You just you hop on whatever bandwagon.
No, the Pumas depression, because Pumas is first priority. Pumas depression overrides everything else. So it bleeds into any type of Tigres fandom.
See, and this is why LigaMX is okay. So yeah, Pumas, it sucks, but in 2 months they have another season. So, I mean, like you don't have that long to worry about the suffering because it just goes right by. Which is why it just kills me when they would not send their teams, their best available teams, to Libertadores. Because when are you going to play in Libertadores again? You can't. You don't have 2 months to sulk over it and then go start all over again. It'll be like years before you go back to get that chance.
Do you think it's ignorance on some level that some of these teams didn't realize the prestige behind the tournament, that you're not gonna absolutely try your best?
I don't know what happened. I remember Vucetich when they had that great Monterrey team and they were going to be in the Libertadores. Like, man, this is going to be fantastic. We finally are sending a quality, Liga MX champion team. The team that could contend for the. And he sends the first, like reserve squads of the first 2 or 3 games in the group stage. Like, dude, what are you doing? You're killing us.
Where can you make more money, in Liguilla or in
Well,
Liga?
I think that's the thing. Is it?
Yeah.
It just wasn't. I don't think it was financially viable for some teams to. Which is unfortunate. I mean, if you're going to play in a tournament, then make it worth your while. So, but it'll be back. Libertadores will be back, gentlemen. That was a really, really interesting show. That was enjoyable. That was just what I needed on my crazy day today. So, I do thank you. I thank everybody for listening live here on YouTube. Did have some chatter on the on the chat, and of course you can listen to this and previous editions of the CantinaMX podcast on our new night, Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. Central Sharp, which is 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 out on the East Coast. We will start every Thursday night. So thank you guys for joining us tonight, and we'll do it all again next week here on the CantinaMX podcast. Y'all have a good night.